Welcome to season 7, episode 14 of The Will Reads. Welcome. How's everyone doing tonight? Good, yeah.
Great.
7 out of 10, maybe an 8.
There's
Might
much
be
rejoicing. Ooh, that's good.
Rejoice.
That's really good. Announcements on what's going on. We'll jump right into that. No new patrons, so the show is for nobody. Or no, it's for current patrons.
It's for everybody.
It's for everyone. This show's for everyone.
If you're listening right now, this show's for you.
This show's for you. Yes. We're 1 month away from Jordan Con.
Oh my.
Dang, gone. Wow, we are.
We are. Yeah.
What are the dates for that again?
It's the April 20th through whatever that weekend is.
Yeah, something like that.
I have court the 19th.
Okay. Yeah.
So we might not see you after all.
Well, I'm not.
Oh, no. Well, I mean,
I'm
it's
leaving
not
the morning of.
court,
I'm
but
leaving
you never
the
know
morning
with
of
me.
the 20th. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'll pick you up.
If I'm riding with you, it might be a quiet car ride. It depends on the outcome.
I'll pick
Kid
you up.
stuff.
I'll pick you up in the middle of like at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Perfect.
Oh, that sounds too early.
We'll drive through the night. Oh, oops. Skeeter just popped in.
Now you see him. Now you don't.
I don't. All good. Yeah, Skeeter's running our back office tonight.
That was the Wizard of Oz.
That was the wizard. The wonderful Wizard of Oz. But so yeah, Jordan Con coming up with that. I got ribbons, so I'll be giving those out. Like sure.
Nice.
So those will be there. I got a couple of them. So some of them you have to do stuff for. You know, we'll see. We'll get there. But yeah, Jordan Con, that's the big thing coming up. We are trying to schedule our next Wad of Fortune. It will be before Jordan Con, but not sure yet the exact dates and those things. And yeah, that's it for announcements as far as things going on. We're still reading through Way of Kings, so no more Cosmere. Yeah, okay. So personal life. What's going on in my world? Nothing. Like, there's absolutely this is like the first week I think since the 2 years or 3 years or however long we've been doing this that I have really nothing new that's going on. We might get chickens. We talked about it last week though. I mean that's not
we did. Our alum just won NCAA's for men's basketball.
Yeah, seeing you.
Division
that's,
18.
Division 18.
What is William and Mary doing?
So,
Crickets.
Crown of Swords is the book we're reading, and they're in a rebuilding decade.
Yeah. So. Oh, we had St. Patty's Day. That's something new. Okay, that's something I can report. St. Patty's Day. We have every single year we have people come over to our house for St. Patty's Day, and we do a big. My wife, she brines her own beef. We get like 40 pounds of beef, and we put them in buckets and brine it to corn or in beef. So we have corned beef and cabbage. And soda bread and lots of Guinness and actually we found this Baltimore Blonde by Guinness. It's owned by Guinness Brewery, but it's brewed in Baltimore.
Yeah, they've got a pretty big brewery up there. You can see it when you drive past on the 95.
I mean, I have stouts too, but this was just I was like, oh, it's Guinness.
Is it worth grabbing? Because I saw it on the shelf and passed it up.
It's a light beer.
Okay,
it's good. It tastes like a light beer, like kind of like a Natty Bow.
Well, if I'm in that mood,
it's a Baltimore beer.
Yeah, there you go.
Natty
Not
Bows.
saying that people from Baltimore are soft, but
yeah,
just straight to the point.
I mean, have you seen The Wire?
if you're not from Maryland or from the DC area, you probably have no idea what Natty Bows are, but they're a staple of that part of the country. So if you ever go there,
no, we don't have to claim that. We don't have to.
Natty Bows.
I've lived in DC for 13 years, and I can tell you for a fact that I have never had one while I lived here. I've seen it.
But you're aware they exist.
It's like Bud Light, but it's
no. I will drink
like the
like
local
decent beer. I say that as I'm drinking Yingling. So
That's not, if you're
I
going
didn't
for a
have any
basic
wine.
beer, that's good. It's simple. It's not expensive. It's got a little flavor to it. You're definitely a step up of your Miller Lite, Bud Light sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, normally I drink like orphans, so I call them orphans. Beers that people leave behind at my house. So I have
Dark friend indeed.
thing right here for on deck. Michelob Ultra. It's like water. Someone left it here. I'm like, fine, I'll drink it.
Alan invites people to his house, just puts
to
up
see
with
what
it,
he
and then
gets.
the next day he opens the garage fridge and goes, "Yes, boils." There's 5
exactly.
Somebody called it canned water.
It is canned water. That's really what it is. It's
Skinny
horrible.
canned water.
It's horrible, but someone left it at our house, so I'm gonna drink it. Anyway, that's it for me. St. Patty's Day. It was fun. We had lots and lots of corned beef. We still have lots in the fridge. So lots of corned beef, lots of cabbage, lots of potatoes, and Rice Krispie treats that we put green food dye in to make them green Rice Krispie treats because it's St. Patrick's Day. Yeah,
That's
the
very
kids had
leprechaun-y of
fun.
you.
Yeah, the kids had fun, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
So, how about you guys?
Well, I don't have much, but since you mentioned St. Patrick's Day, that was the day of VCU's one and done in the NCAA tournament. They played a solid first half against St. Mary's. Second half, they kind of parted ways a little bit there, but very proud of them. Young team, and fingers crossed, most of them coming back with all this money that's getting paid out to college players now. Who knows what's going to happen to some of these guys before next year?
I love being in a D3.
They lost to a better team than UVA did, so
yeah. Oh, that's heartbreaking. And don't listen to this and go, Ian's a big basketball fan. I'm not. I'm one of those guys that as the tournament gets closer, I'll pay attention a little bit, and then I watch the NCAA tournament, and that's it. And I still don't know all the rules. Every time something happens that is against my team, I'm like, ref, what are you, blind? Oh gosh, pull your whistle out of your pocket. But I have no idea what the fouls are. I don't even. They make hand motions, and I'm just like, that's bullshit.
Wait, that's my team. That's my team.
Right, exactly.
A game of soft people, anyway.
Yeah.
When I played ball, you had to be a man. You had to foul like a man.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you got to take that foul like a man.
It's not that I didn't play basketball growing up, but I promise you the rules that I grew up playing in the neighborhood do not apply.
If you weren't bleeding, you better not call that foul. Or if you are like 1 point away from the loss, you better not call that foul.
Yeah. But, and the way we played, you called your own fouls. You couldn't call somebody else out for fouling you, but you could call your own foul. And when it got really competitive, it got pretty ugly. So anyway,
it wasn't speaking of New Yorkers came in town.
Speaking of not knowing rules, and I don't know if Watt Ossie is in chat or not because he usually listens to us live. When I was in Australia, I was in a bar one time during one of these big championships for Australian Rules Football League or Australian Football League, which is like rugby but in a circular field, and I have no idea what the hell was going on.
Ooh.
But like you, Ian, it was fun, so I started cheering and just no idea. Everybody started cheering. I'm like, yeah, something happened. I don't.
Yay for the home team. Boo for the away team.
Yay, sports. Yeah. Chris, what's up with you?
Again, seeing you did phenomenally in basketball this past week.
We did.
I hear there was confetti.
I hear there was a lot of excitement.
I bet you they're getting sprinkles on their ice cream.
I'm sure because they don't get NCAA money. They don't, D3 is what it is. So
they gotta make some money in these
win.
tournaments. They gotta make the school gets a little money, I'm sure.
I'm sure the school gets a little something to cover the cost. That's about it. But and coach gets his pocket padded. But we got Lily fixed, which has been interesting because when we got Oscar fixed, Lily went ham for like 4 days on Oscar. Got Lily fixed, and Oscar started to growl at her, and she hissed back, and he looked at her, and she looked at him, and he walked away. A day later, he's like,
He looks at him.
He's like, you smell different, but I remember that paw.
I remember that attitude. I remember that paw. Yeah.
I'm gonna trust it's you.
Like we kept her in the room just because we're trying to let her heal peacefully. Because every time he goes near, she's like, she'll let him come close. She'll start sniffing. She's okay with it. Yep. As soon as he goes for that incision, it's like game on. The paw comes up. And he's like, oh.
Yeah.
There is nothing funnier than a cat's rapid fire like paw swats, especially when they're not really clawing the bejesus. It's just like a getting your attention. Yeah, that's the best. And they usually have this look on their face like, I will do it with my claws if you keep this up. Like for real, you're about to get it.
She's legitimately half his size at this point in life. And he's still like he's the big bad one until it gets real serious, and then she gets very vocal, and he's like, "Okay, all right, cool." I think it also.
So you could have named them Lan and Nynaeve.
Pretty much. But it's also helpful that she knows that they both know that if I hear her growl, then I come, and then it becomes like I become.
So that's what does it for you, Chris.
Hey, you know the pussy's
Giggity.
on.
I guess.
No kink shaming. No kink shaming.
Right? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
You know, I'm thoroughly into pussies.
I have
All
nothing left
right.
to say.
So speaking
And
of
they're into
cats, we have Leia, Roof Mitchell's Leia, and this transition is going to make sense in a second from Threefold Talk. And the reason why we were late was because her cat brought a dead bird in. Yeah.
As we were like literally about
to go live, I was like, this was going to be great live content. We should have been live.
By the way, I saw Shazam this weekend. If anybody wants to know the one cool thing that I did do, it was actually really good. We enjoyed it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. I'll put that on the
Hello,
list.
Roof Mistress.
Yeah, Roof Mistress Leia from Threefold Talk is coming to join us for these chapters. She was not able to make it last time Threefold Talk was on, so we had her come in by herself just to bring some maybe Aiel's perspective. I don't know. We're talking a lot about water in this first chapter, so probably not.
There's a lot of water. Like if I start sweating, you'll know why.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
Why is everybody else so calm?
So thank
literally
you for,
an Aiel nightmare is getting trapped underwater.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming to be a guest with us. Tell us if people are skipping episodes and didn't hear the last time Threefold Talk was on.
The igloo one.
Yeah, the igloo one.
Yeah.
If you missed that, you should go back and listen to that episode because the Quickie Quincy was definitely a big portion of that.
That one was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So anyway, tell us a little bit about Threefold Talk.
Listen to our live read, you missed out. So I'm just gonna say that too.
Yeah,
that was intense.
Yeah.
So I'm on a show called Threefold Talk. It's an Aiel kind of a variety show. We talk about the news that's happened in the past week, although we all know there hasn't been a lot of news recently, so we've kind of been making shit up. But then we play games. We'll talk about the books. Sometimes we do have more serious segments like Ask a Wise One. So our wise one, Shelley, will give advice for real life problems. We do dream walking, interpret dreams, which can be hilarious. But yeah, we just have a whole bunch of fun. We try to have guests on most week. And it's on Thursday nights on the Mountgear Talks YouTube channel. 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we'd love if y'all came and joined us.
So when is season 2 coming?
No one knows.
Big idea.
Nobody knows.
This is the worst. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is the worst. I'm so tired of waiting on. This is just as bad as waiting on the next book in Martin's series. Like, it just like it's never gonna happen.
Never. Have they talked about dates for dropping like teaser trailers or more trailers? So there's So
they released a deleted scene from season 1 today.
Mm-hmm. Which they had previewed at WatCon last year.
Okay. Was it WatCon or was it at the New York Comic Con?
So they did the origins at New York Comic Con, and then WatCon they did the 2 deleted scenes. One of which was Egwene's ceremony, was more of an extended version.
Right.
They did release that immediately after WatCon, but they never released this Tam talking to Egwene about Carrie. and which was his wife
Oh,
that
boy.
passed.
Yeah.
Rand's mom. It's really touching, actually. Like, make sure you have like a tissue handy because it does get a little emotional, even though it's like 45 seconds long.
Is there a visual flashback to Rand's
No.
mom? Okay, because that would be
that'd be
huge.
really cool.
Yeah.
So you get Shail and you get Carrie. That would be
man.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
No pressure, Rafe.
Yeah.
None at all.
Not at all. All right. Anything in your world going on that you want to talk about?
I just this past weekend did my first half marathon in 3 years, and I didn't die.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. So it's a slow training process. I have long COVID, so I just get exhausted really easily. So trying to come back and start working out and not hurting myself or like making myself sick again. Ugh.
Have you done a full marathon before?
Oh yeah, I've done. Yeah. Okay. So actually I've got this lifelong goal to qualify for Boston. Okay. And so it's my slow, it's probably going to take 2 years to get up to that. But yeah, so I've got
next year, maybe 2 years, Newport News One City Marathon is a Boston qualifier, and it's one of the fastest ones.
6.1 miles. Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I will be looking.
It's a straight shot.
It's a straight shot. It's all flat, and so there's no hills. It's all flat, and it's in early March, so it's usually pretty like chill.
Yeah,
it's not too cold. It's not too hot. Like it's one of the fastest. So
and
it's
always on a Sunday.
People, it's always on a Sunday, but people come from. We get a lot of people that come from elsewhere to qualify for Boston because there's a Boston qualifier.
That's awesome.
You can run a faster time there than most places because it's flat.
If you don't start with your best pace, if you're not running your best pace, for most people that aren't used to it, the gunshots make you run faster.
Yeah, it is Newport News.
Once you hear them pop, you're like, I'm a fan of this.
Did you see someone broke out of jail today in Newport News? Did you see that news
again?
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, this was great.
Was it the basketball yard?
You guys are really convincing me to come do this.
No, so yesterday, they released a news story today on our newspaper online. But so yesterday, 2 guys that were in Newport News jail, they tunneled like Shawshank Redemption style out. They dug a hole through the concrete and bricks and stone out of the jail. Then when they went to do, I guess, the head count or whatever at 7 p.m., they realized they were gone. And they didn't catch. They caught them. They caught both the guys at 3 a.m. the same night. So last night at 3 a.m. or this morning at 3 a.m. And the next city over, which is Hampton, at the IHOP. Which where else would you be?
IHOP in Hampton.
They had to get them pancakes.
They just had to get something to eat, bro. They just
wanted some pancakes, man.
Yeah.
I just hope
tunnel out of jail.
I hope they eventually give a shout out to all of us that helped dig that tunnel because that hole started in 2010. I chipped away at that for a little while, knowing full well it would never be me that benefited from it. I was passing that on to the next person. So I'm glad somebody finally broke through.
Yeah.
Hopefully they didn't, hopefully they weren't like violent people that hurt anybody after they got out.
They went to
the fact that they went to IHOP in Hampton,
they literally just want some real food.
Those are the kind of shenanigans I am all for. Broke out. What did they order?
That's what I want to know. It's a good question, Iris. It's a good question.
I agree, Iris.
Makes me question why Waffle House.
I'll take a 3-egg omelet, please.
Oh man,
you gotta go to like Denny's and
in
get
Hampton. That was probably literally the only thing open.
Yeah.
Probably. Oh yeah, for sure.
And they're probably still in their freaking orange jumper suits. Idiots.
With the slides.
I just don't understand.
Those slides are comfortable though.
But no, on some real stuff, the One City Marathon is a phenomenal activity, and there's a lot of police presence, and churches are out on the lawn.
It's very safe.
It's very safe.
Slowly back away from the
churches are out on the lawns, like praying for you as you run by. Like my church waves people on. We hand out.
It is mostly through the good parts.
It is, yeah.
In our neighborhood goes because they run through our neighborhood.
They run right through
everyone in our neighborhood goes all out for it. Like they had this kid that made all these signs, and they're hilarious. They're just like, "Yay, random stranger!" Like was one sign. Like it was just a bunch
they put you in the good parts of Newport News.
Yeah,
yeah, they do actually. They do route you around the good parts. So. You guys ready?
Start you at the Victory Arch.
That's where the ends.
That's
where the
Victory That's actually pretty cool.
Starts at by Newport News Park.
Yeah,
Lee Hall area. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, you get to see a lot of history too. So it is really neat. It honestly, it's a phenomenal opportunity.
It is.
add it to my list of races.
Alan will run
to
it
do.
with you, and he'll tell you about all this.
My brother will run it. My brother's run it twice now. I will not run it. I'll
hold a
drinking
sign
beer.
to try and make you laugh.
Actually, I'll do what I do every year. I'll be drinking a Bloody Mary and sitting on the side of the street going, "Yay, runners!" Getting drunk.
Go sports.
Go sports.
Go sports.
That's what I do every year. I go and get a big thing of Bloody Mary, and I sit there and watch the runners go by.
The nice thing about this race, because I was like, it was just kind of I just wanted to finish it and kind of, hit the distance. So I was walking the last, I think, 5 miles of it, just straight up walking. And there were people they were like just holding out full beers, just like this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, for serious? So I'm like chugging beers, finishing this.
This
Like,
is
yeah.
so easy.
I know. Which I don't think I could do if I was running it, because I probably would proceed to puke that up. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah, but we're usually assholes. We had a friend of ours that ran a marathon back in college, and Ian went and got a giant tub of relish, like pickle relish.
I added
and
mustard.
And added mustard to it. And as he ran by, he went up to give him a high five and just missed on purpose and smacked him right in the chest, like full of
Smeared it on him.
So smeared it all over
so
his chest.
mean. Oh, that's
So
terrible.
it looked like he threw up all over himself,
Which actually caused other runners to throw up when they saw it.
because he was running
That's what
past
I
other
felt
runners
bad.
and he was picking pieces off and eating it as he was running.
Oh my god!
And
Think
other
about the
runners
electrolytes
just
from
start
the
puking.
little bits of pickle that was helping him.
And the mustard, all of that's
Yeah, the
good.
mustard,
yeah,
it's good. It's good for running.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have reacted well to that. By meaning, I probably would have punched him in the face.
I would not do that to you, but Adam had it coming. He had it coming.
Now I want to
Now-
sing that song from Chicago.
I know
had
he
it
had it
coming.
coming.
Now that we have proficiently wasted 25 minutes.
All right, yeah. So chapter 31.
I'm kidding. We haven't wasted any time.
Mashira.
I don't even know where my book is. I'm kidding. I have it right here, I think.
Alan's done such a good job of keeping us on track lately that I've kind of got away from following in the book. So Alan, don't mess up.
Well, Nynaeve's on a boat. That's how we start. She's on a boat.
In the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, this sounds like the size of Chesapeake Bay, where it kind of looks like the ocean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, that's the first mental image I have. If you're on a sailboat and you're just off the coast, this is where I'm from. So this is what I think of.
Yeah. So yeah, on the boat, she goes down below, which if she gets seasick, I don't know. That's
She always gets a
Don't-
little seasicky.
Yeah, and you don't want to get on a boat and go straight down below if you're prone to seasickness. That's usually you want to adjust first.
It's gonna seal
Stay
the
up
deal.
on top, look at the horizon, get acclimated. But yeah, so she goes down below into a cabin and obviously starts to feel a little bit, but
Pout.
she's thinking of
She starts to pout.
Complain
Yes.
about
Yeah.
everything and everyone.
yes.
She's been judgmental all throughout these books, but it is at its apex right now.
Oh yeah,
She's being such
Nobody's doing anything
brat.
right. Yeah.
she's pissed because she has to eat her words with Matt, so she's stuffing all that down. She can't even just unleash on him, so she's just kind of all the emotions that she normally would be getting out in front of people. She's doing that to herself right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And who does Elaine think she is? Dun, 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 blah, blah, blah. And everybody's wrong and everybody's screwed up.
And all the Aes Sedai who think she's too young and not a real Aes Sedai.
Yeah. What's my name? Do you know who I am? Come on.
Mm,
Yep. So she's sitting there thinking about all these things and upset, and all of a sudden she feels a ton of Sidar. And next thing she knows, flash, and she's at the bottom of the river.
I
Water
will
fills-
give her this. As much as she's been moaning and complaining, I won't use the itching word. She really handled that really well. Being underwater, small air pocket. She managed that really well for somebody who was seasick 20 seconds ago.
She hasn't been the type, unless I'm missing something, she hasn't been the type to freeze when
Mm-mm.
there's a problem. You know, there's the people talk about fight or flight, but then there's the other one. The third one is freeze. She doesn't freeze. She generally fights.
Oh yeah.
So even if she doesn't know what she's doing, she's gonna do something.
I mean,
and it just shows her logical thinking. Like she is cool, calm, and she like knows just logical steps of things to do. Like, oh, the door handle's not here, so I'm gonna like go to the other side and find the door handle, and then try to pry it open. And then that didn't work, so let me take a breath, go figure out why is this not working? Because I need to get out.
Yeah. Well, no matter how extreme the situation is, like her character, I guess to my point, she's not one that is going to sit and let things happen to her or sit and wait for somebody to save her.
Yeah.
I've never got that impression from Nynaeve. So
yeah,
she's doing, to your point, she's trying to find a way to do something with the information she has and what's around her.
And in a terrifying situation, I mean, I've never been on a boat that sunk, but I'm sure it's terrifying. I mean, Ian, is it scary?
So the first time I was so inebriated, I guess you could say I got lucky that it all worked out.
Oh my God.
The second time I knew the water wasn't that deep and we were able to get the boat back up.
Yes, you definitely want to go boating with Ian.
We had to float the boat back up, though. You had to tell us like it sunk to the bottom.
Yeah,
I remember you called me and you're like, "Yeah, I took the boat out. I think we're sinking." I was like, "What do you mean you're sinking?" Like, I mean, there's water like pouring in.
like I'm going down. I just need somebody to know where I'm at in case I can't figure this out.
Holy crap, that's crazy.
Yeah. So was it scary? Probably not for you.
No. So
you weren't trapped in the cabin.
No. Well, so I didn't think about my sailing mishaps because truthfully, it was mostly because of old boats that weren't maintained, and then one we just had too much weight on it. But that's not important. What I thought about was I told y'all this about last beach week. We went out a day when it was way like super rough, and I overestimated my abilities, and I got blasted by a wave, and it rolled me.
Oh, that's scary.
And you get held down. Yeah.
Well, I got rolled in one of these pockets where it suddenly became very deep, but it was all white water. And when it's that white oxygenated bubbly water, you can't swim. You can't move yourself. And I was like, literally, I got close to the light where I was about to break the surface, and I knew I had to take a quick breath. And before I could, the next wave rolled me, and I didn't know which way was up. And I had already done the math. I had exhaled most of my breath, just trying not to let water go up my nose, which was dumb. And like, I couldn't do anything. I just had to hope to hit the bottom, and my arm grazed sand. So I swam to that first and then pushed off and shot up. But like, that's what I thought of in this moment with Nynaeve. Yeah. Like, at least she had some sort of bubble of air she can create around her. And, but no, I didn't think about sinking boats, Alan.
The only close one that I've ever had similar to that was, I think, it was with you. Of course, it was with you. Was when we were jumping off a bridge in Manio.
Oh yeah.
And my foot went down, got stuck in the mud, and I had to.
They do all safe things only.
Yeah. You know, when they say like, you know, your friends jump on a bridge with you, like the answer is yes, I would.
Right.
Because it's fun.
Generally, I'm the first one to jump off, so I don't even know how to answer that question. Yeah. If my friends are jumping off a bridge, I already jumped. I went first.
But I went straight to the bottom, and my foot got stuck in the mud, and I had to pry it out real fast. But still had to cup it seemed like a lot longer. It was probably like half a second of sheer panic. But it was
but that panic cuts the time.
It does.
I could hold my breath still. I could hold my breath underwater in a pool for close to 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Because your heart's beating so fast.
In a panic mode, if you get 30 seconds, like that's anyways,
like cold water? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was freaking out with her here. This isn't a cool situation to be in.
No. But she has a little air pocket, so she collects herself and says, okay, let's get to the door. Finds the door, pushes it on Mike.
Gets that moment where you think she'd be able to like drum up some magic somehow.
Well, she tries to get angry, but the anger's just not there. She's more
fear and desperation is not anger.
No, it's very far. Like there's nothing to be mad about in that moment.
If she had time, she could turn it into anger. because we've
Right.
seen
I
her
go
do that.
straight to
She's
anger.
experienced other emotions and she turns it into anger. Like, I'm worried about you, so I'm going to get angry. I love you, so I'm going to get angry. I'm sad, so I'm going to get angry. If she had time to think about, oh,
They left
here
the
I am,
pickles on
little
my
Nynaeve.
sandwich. I'm gonna get angry.
Right. I'm sitting here
That's me.
about to die. Like a vet, she could get herself angry, but there's no time for that.
Mhm.
So the raw emotion of the fear, and very real fear, is overpowering.
Yeah.
Like, that's primary, and that doesn't help her channel.
Yeah.
No, and I'm sure she knew people growing up that drowned, growing up in the Two Rivers area with this rushing
Sure.
water. Like, she's probably familiar with how dire that situation can
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And just, that panic. Like, you can't overcome that panic. It's almost impossible.
Yep. That's tough.
Yeah. I mean, I knew a few people that have drowned. It's not
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. My sister has an uncle.
Yeah.
Swimming in the James, not a good thing.
Oh yeah. Well, James has a lot of weird currents. That's a whole different thing. But
Yeah.
But yeah, so can't make herself angry enough to channel. She tries to get the door, but realizes that's in the mud, so that's not going anywhere. She goes back up to the air and realizes she's run out of air. And then tunnel vision starts happening. She starts to lose it. So probably panicking as well. You start hyperventilating. That takes the oxygen supply down in a small space extremely fast. The faster you can calm yourself, the more that oxygen will last inside those spaces. But you start hyperventilating, the carbon dioxide content will start to rise exponentially.
I'd rather find myself in a pocket of air that eventually loses oxygen and I either get giddy or just pass out than drown underwater.
Oh, hard
sure.
agree.
As much as I
So
do
hard
water
agree.
sports and swim and I love being in the water, the fear of drowning is real in me. I've had plenty of bad dreams about that. Not excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you I had the fear of the vastness of the ocean, so you'll never catch me drowning because I rarely ever get on a boat. So,
But
Alan,
you don't
too.
have to. Like, you could literally drown in 2 inches of water. So if you're just in
nearly
the
drowned
bathtub and you
drinking.
slip, well, that's a different type of drowning.
Yeah.
Well, if Chris slips in the bathtub, he gonna displace that water. I love you, Chris. I'm so sorry.
Actually, I don't float. That's what sucks.
Really?
Really? Like, I'll start out like this, and then my bottom half goes. And I got a big booty, so you would think
that's all those squats. My top half floats really well. My legs do not. They are lead.
Not at all. They just
straight down.
My wife doesn't float either. She sinks right to the bottom.
I have seen your wife. I believe that 100%.
Yeah, right to the bottom.
But even when she sinks to the bottom, she's still happy. So bad.
Yeah,
I love it.
She's sitting here going, I should not have selected tonight to be on the show. This is horrible.
Oh no, I fucking love it. Are you kidding me? This is what Threefold talk.
My wife's name is Happy. That's the joke.
Yep. That's
so anyway, so finally she's about to lose consciousness and does something she's never done ever before. Surrender.
Let it go. Let it go. Don't be angry at everything anymore. Let it go.
Yeah. Did you guys see this one coming? I mean, because we talked about like the secret to Nynaeve's bitch. She found out she's always angry, Hulk mode, but this actually went the complete opposite way. Like complete.
Well, I think this is the only way because they tried so hard in Saladar. They tried everything to break, to help her break through her block, and like literally, it's Ian. What you were saying, she's going to find a way to fucking survive. She's going to find a way to get out of this.
Yeah.
And
but I think
she just happens to do the only thing she can. It's just like give in, and that breaks her block. It gets her out of it. She does really save herself. Like Land's there to help pull her out of the water, but she saves herself.
Yes, 100% agree. So, Alan, we talked about it so many times. Like, and I mentioned again tonight how she turns every emotion into anger, and that's part of her survival instinct. That's a defensive mode for her, but it's also her offensive mode. Like, we were talking about all these different Aes Sedai that tried to break her. None of them stood a chance of ever breaking her if they didn't have the capability of actually threatening her life and killing her.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
so I feel like that was the difference here. And it was literally this close to death. And she couldn't pretend anymore to fight it. Like, it'd almost be better if, like, when they put it on the big screen for the show, if they show her like literally just doing everything she can, you know, trying to wiggle this, open this, whatever, and up until the last moment, like just almost swinging at nothing and grabbing at nothing.
Well, she's hammering her fist against the seat. She's like muttering, like, I will not die here. I will, like, she's trying everything to like physically get out of space, make herself mad, like do the things that she physically can do to
got to be in control of this. You know?
Yeah.
See, and that's in that split second of about to give in, about to pass out, about to
you just take
just
that
relax, and then boom.
Yeah, that would be beautiful. And Zoe would do that so well. Oh my God, I want to see that so bad.
Yep.
I mean, it definitely highlighted her number one problem. And it's not the anger or the need for anger or the lack of anger. I mean, I have the same problem that she has, so I'll speak to it, because I literally everything can make me angry in a breath of 30 seconds. Like, I go out to a restaurant and the waitress does the wrong thing, and I let it go the first time, I let it go the second time, and then the third time, like, I could do this shit myself, and that's her problem. That's really what it is. It's that
well, and I think
could do it because she was attempting to grasp the power. She was trying to take hold of it. She was trying to take control. Her desire, need, her instinct to be in control of everything around her was her block. And the minute she realized there's absolutely nothing to take control of here, it's either I die or I don't. Then she completely surrendered to the idea that I don't have control. In every situation she's been in, she's always looked for the angle to take control of the situation or be in charge of the situation, be it that she's locked up, be it that she's free, be it that she's with people or not. You know, the anger really just sparked from her desire to force her will on other people.
And I do think she compounds it, though, because especially once she learns that her channeling is tied to it, she puts herself in those situations that she doesn't even attempt to moderate her anger. She just lets it go because she knows that if she needs the power, like to be able to channel, she has to be in that constant heightened state of I'm pissed off at the fucking world. So like, I do think there is a compounding. She does, even when she was the wisdom, you are right. Like, that was very frustrating. Everybody treated her like a child. You're too young to be this leader in our community. Like, and nobody gave her the tools to handle that. So anger was a natural part of that. But you do see in the books, as she moves forward, as she can start letting go of that anger, it's a long process of her trying to learn to deal with it, but she does get to this very zen state eventually. And I really love that Nynaeve eventually.
Yeah. Chris, I'm reading into this, and I'm psychoanalyzing Nynaeve way too much. But
Newport News at its finest.
There it is. Is that from you, Alan?
No.
Oh, that'd have been great.
Mistress.
Where was I going? Oh, so you made the comment at the end about like being angry and being in control so that she could manipulate others. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but something that affect. I don't think her need and her desire has anything to do with needing to affect others. I think it truly is. It's a defense mechanism. It's sadly like where I've seen this in other people in my life that are eerily similar to Nynaeve and resorting to anger all the time. It's because they've never had anybody in their life where they trust enough to let their guard down, or that they trust enough to protect them, take care of them. So they're convinced they're the only ones that can do it for themselves. So they're constantly in a defense mode. Or maybe there was a certain trauma along the way that put you there. Like, I always have to be on guard. So I know I've been back and forth on this. I've criticized Nynaeve a lot, but then I start to think about, all right, what caused this in her? The odds of her just being born this way are pretty slim. Probably it's because of either something traumatic or just a whole childhood and upbringing of having to take care of herself and never having somebody that she trusted to take care of her. So she has to be in control.
Yeah,
she's afraid. She's been too afraid to let
when
go.
she's always fighting for herself. She's fighting for people. She's fighting for something, and that does manifest a lot in anger of just not always like, why can't I just protect them? Why can't everybody just be safe and happy and not get sick and not get stabbed by swords and not have to run away from Trollocs? Like, why? So yeah, that's pretty trauma, and she feels that massive responsibility over them. Specifically over the 4 that leave 2 Rivers, and that's she doesn't even wait for the council to approve of who's going to go. She's like, fuck it, I'm just going. Like,
she knows it's got to be her. It's me. I don't care about y'all. I'm handling this. Yep.
Sorry, I missed most of that.
We didn't say anything important.
Okay, cool. So my son's started to sleepwalk. So so I had to guide him back to his room, get him back in bed. So.
I used to do that a lot. Is this the February 6th, son?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a sign of high intelligence.
Yeah. So I could hear him outside the door doing laps, and he wasn't awake. He just got back in his bed and went right back out. So
don't wake him up.
Yeah,
but you can talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll get crazy answers, but
shit can be hilarious apparently.
Yeah, I asked him. I said, "What's going on?" He's like, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go." And so said that over and over again. I was like, "Okay, let's go back to bed." I don't know where he didn't want to go, but he didn't want to go. So anyway, is this right? Or where are we? Are we where Land's pulling place. Around? Okay, yeah,
right about the part where she finally let go and she's able to channel without anger.
Burst through.
This is the big moment.
Starts to float up, losing consciousness, no idea what's going on. All of a sudden, she feels something grab her, thinks it's a shark or something, or
lionfish.
And realizes it's hands. Next thing she knows, she's being pulled up onto a boat. And she hears his voice.
She vomits.
First she vomits. Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
If you don't believe
chunks
that
all over, it looks like relish and mustard.
Bringing it back.
Tasty.
If you don't believe that I called this being Land like from the get-go, go back and watch if you're a patron, watch our live reaction. Yeah. The Land thing, it was bound to happen. I mean, it's not a great prediction, but man, this had to be it.
Yeah.
We knew.
Yeah. And she starts to dread its Land because she just threw up all over herself and everywhere, all over the deck, and just
be vulnerable. Come on,
looks like a hot mess.
Yeah, but when
you see your boy toy for the first time, you don't want to look like that. You want to look sexy.
I got you, but also from the guy perspective, like if you're sexy from their point of view in the John Mayer gray sweatpants, no makeup, like that's hot. If you're in your slob mode and like,
but this is the first time you've seen someone like I totally get that. I understand that there's a comfort and like in knowing that that's how the person that you love feels about you. But the first time you've seen them in a long time is not.
That's fair, right? we all daydream about it, and none of the daydreams involve puking on them.
And being a hot mess, soaking wet. She's probably wearing makeup, which is probably now running down her face.
Fair enough.
So, none of that.
I don't see her as a makeup wearer.
She needs to get her hair did.
I don't picture her as a big makeup person either. But
I feel like she would wear just a little bit, not like full on.
Right. Also, she's on the job right now, so whatever she had on, I don't think it's her being her true self. It'd be this is what I got to be.
It was a low cut dress, and she commented on it because she was going to be the suit.
Yeah. She dressed up.
But she's right. She gets pulled out of the water and before she knows that she's hearing a voice she recognizes, and she gets all giddy girlish.
Not before hitting land
I was gonna
first.
say Giddy.
Cold
Is Giddy what she went for?
I think she like
She
vomited
cold-
all over herself and then like used the power to clean herself up. Because wait, maybe I'm skipping ahead in my mind. Hold on, let me actually look at the book. Y'all know I
No,
don't
she hit
read
him
this.
first without knowing she hit him. And then
Yeah,
she looks
she-
over and sees the
Oh.
bruise coming up on his face, and she goes,
Oh,
"Oh my god, I
yeah.
hit you!"
No, yeah, well, she hit him in the water because she thought she was fighting off that shark
shark,
or the
yeah, okay.
lionfish or
Right,
whatever.
Yeah.
But she did after she heard his voice, like, but he like doesn't even take a step, like he hasn't even turned around, and she's like channeled all the water out and kind of gets the flyaways.
Right.
Now that
Back
she can
down.
channel, she is like
Right.
like
She's
I
like,
think
let me
you
make
mentioned-
myself presentable right now.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, she starts
doesn't even-
channeling everything. It's like, all right,
She
let me
doesn't
kill
even-
your, let me kill your cheek. Let me do this.
Yeah, she doesn't even realize she's doing it. Like, she doesn't realize she's not angry. She doesn't realize that, like, it's just that gut reaction of, again, like, oh my god, he can't look at me like this. Like, ah. So
Yeah. And I'll sprinkle this in there quickly. Again, in the live reaction, as this was going on, I like, you could probably see me just get in a place that wasn't super happy. When she did recognize who he was and knew who he was and still kept throwing hands, took me to a not great place. So here's my public service announcement to guys out there. Don't let women put their hands on you. That don't mean put your hands on them back, but get away from that mess.
Yeah.
Leave the area.
And
that is one
yeah,
thing that I don't like about how Jordan writes some of these relationships. Like, they just get an
Very
unnecessary, like,
physical.
File
Unnecessary.
punches
Impaired.
Perrin a couple
Yeah.
of times and slaps
Yeah.
him. Like, there are several relationships where the women are physically abusing the guy, and that, you're absolutely right, that is not okay, and I really don't like that. Like, these women
Yeah.
don't,
Well,
there's no reason to be doing that.
I don't know
Yeah.
what his relationship with his wife was like, but I feel like what he was really trying to do is just like draw attention to those hidden taboo conversations that people aren't talking about. Because I mean,
Maybe.
we're already here all the way here in 2023 talking about this situation when even, 10, 15 years ago was like, it's not something you discuss. Like, men don't get beat on by women, men don't get raped, men don't get abused. So like, we're supposed to just take it and keep
Or
going.
worse than that, in around a group of 20 people, if a girlfriend or wife cold cocks her husband, boyfriend, whatever, the
Yeah,
guy's just expected to take it.
exactly.
Nobody stands up and says anything. And
No.
I guess so. Part of my PSA and why you got to watch out for that. And this book probably isn't going in that direction. But what might start out as, oh, she's just angry, da 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 da. Like, if I don't mind being her punching bag because she's not really hurting me, I can put up with it. I can take it. Well, and if that's what's happening in year one, and then that becomes her outlet for taking out all of her aggressions, all of her disappointments, all of her moments of being unhappy, by year 10, it gets really fucking ugly.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
So-
you're gonna snap. But I mean, that's even with the emotional too. Like,
Yeah.
don't allow
Yeah.
yourself to be demeaned or belittled because, I've said this before. Those that listen from the beginning, I used to have a lot more patience than I have now, and I'm still a fairly patient person, but nothing. I used to be a saint like, and I don't say that without the
People take
humility.
advantage of that.
Once you get to that point, it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm done.
You can't be an outlet for somebody else's bad
No.
behavior, bad emotions, bad. You could have empathy for it, but you direct them to the appropriate place. And anyways, I don't know. So that as we were listening, I kind of zoned out for a bit, but I don't want to take away from all the fantastic things that are happening here. I don't think Jordan wanted us to really get into this conversation about it, but it's worth having.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Because it's not okay. And it does happen in these, specifically in the Wheel of Time books, way more often. And it is excused in the books, and it should not be. It's just not acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a woman. So like it's hands down all across the board. Nobody should be hitting anybody.
Right.
So
there's other ways
she
to
did
express what
apologize.
you're feeling.
Yeah.
But after they go back under, she does hit him a couple of more times, like intentionally.
Oh yeah.
Once the
And it's
morale,
like-
so once the morale conversation happens, yes.
Yeah.
Since
And
she
that's
starts-
that's probably where I really. So again,
Yeah.
if this story moves on and like I'm hoping through this, Nynaeve digs a little bit deeper and explores her emotions a little bit more, and it's not just angry all the time, and she's able to keep her hands to herself. If this turns into multiple books of every time like Jordan's trying to be funny, and every time there's a little tiff between Nynaeve and Lan, she cold cocks him, that you're gonna hear me talk about this every single time. It's gonna piss me off.
Yeah.
So an apology is great. Change of behavior is much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Anywho.
after the initial meeting on the boat, they decided to go down below to talk more, whichever the sailors started snickering about it. And
Let's go down below.
yeah.
Come up with a game plan. Wink, wink, nudge.
And Nynaeve's not too happy about that, so she starts channeling everywhere. Channels Lan's stuff up for him, opens the door using channeling, like just Fantasia, Mickey Mouse, we talked about in live recording. Like everything's moving around. She's channeling everywhere. And they go down below. And that's when Lan breaks the news to her that he's been bonded to Morel. And that's where
before getting all of the information, she unloads on him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And I won't repeat myself of everything I just said. Just apply it to the situation yet again. Just you know.
And then after hitting him, the classic abuser line, burn you, Landman Jagarin, burn you, burn you, burn you to the pit of doom, burn you.
But like
pause,
you said before,
pause.
though,
We will talk over this calmly as rational as adults. That's like I'm gonna beat on you.
You have just done that
you
from
knew
the
I was
beginning.
waiting on you. It's not like it was even his choice.
No.
But
He was a
that's
warder.
that's what I'm saying. You feel so bad for him. And from the same perspective I just gave y'all a minute ago, like I felt horrible for Lan. I didn't lose respect for Lan, but like I did pity him. That like I could see as this is playing out, he's just standing there and taking it, and he's like, I just got to wait. I just got to let her get it out of her system, and eventually I'll be able to explain. But like his job is to just take that shit. Like that's
Well, and that is one of the unfortunate things about the Warder Bond, because he just went through literal hell. So he lost Moraine, so he's going crazy from losing his Aes Sedai. Then he gets compelled through all this crazy crap to go directly to Morel, who then basically proceeds to rape him.
Right.
And like attempts to rape him into submission. And then finally Egwene comes along and it's like, okay, I know what's going to save you. Go to Nynaeve. And then Nynaeve starts unloading on him. Like the poor bastard just can't win.
And I mean, so he's like,
getting it.
you were saved from being bonded to me in the moments of my depression because you didn't have to take it at my worst. Now, there's the two-sided thought to that. If this is the one person that wants to be with you for the rest of her life to show you love and compassion, then being bonded to her, it's kind of like her right, and also something that you would want her to go through with you.
Yeah.
And his response essentially was, you did not want to be bonded to me. She did you a favor. But like you said,
Nynaeve has no idea what he went through and where he was.
No, absolutely not.
And where he is, even worse, where he still is. She hasn't made the attempt to know that.
Even attempt to find out. So
yeah.
But that being said, in calm Jordan fashion, Lan is kind of outwitted to the point of like, okay, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. I would say the way it's playing out, if you got to look for a positive, there's at least an opportunity that these two people, Lan and Nynaeve, can have a conversation and can make a choice here. I actually think I'd have been bothered more if Moraine just decided to transfer it directly to Nynaeve.
Well, all of that happened even before Moraine knew about Nynaeve. So the transfer had already occurred well before Eye of the World.
Right.
So, and then Moraine, I can't remember if Morel was there in Faldara or not. So maybe there was a discussion.
Eventually, there was an
so
addendum that eventually it would.
Moraine did do it after Eye of the World. She did it after she had been to Tyr. Or was it Tyr? She told Lan at the Vandine and Adelisa's house.
When
so she hadn't been back to the tower since before Eye of the World. So it was something that had already happened well before all of that.
I thought it was when she found out she was going to when she went through the doorway. So,
No, it was before that. Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Okay,
because we talked about it.
She just reinforced it.
It wasn't the Great Haunt when she told it. Okay.
Yeah, she just reinforced it.
To my point, if there's a silver lining, briefly, it's that the two of them get to choose, but then move forward 3 sentences, and Nynaeve, after she starts to put all these pieces together, basically chooses for him. She's like, "You will be my warder, and this is the way it's going to be." And we're
gonna get married today,
right? Like, we go make babies. I don't care what the rules are. This, that, and the other.
Lan's like, do you realize though, my bond with Morel, she'll know if we do that. Try to make babies.
I want her to know.
It's like she'll know.
Feel it too.
I want her to know.
Is there any way that she would know it's me?
Yeah.
Hey, remember, no kink shaming.
Oh, no king shaming at all. But I just love the flex. Like, all right, somebody's gonna know. Like, they're gonna know it's me though, right? And not some random chick.
Yeah.
I think if that was the case, that would probably be more appealing. I mean, because it's not like they're there, and it's not like you're actually doing it with them.
Yeah.
But they would know and experience it. I would do that.
Morel can also completely mask this bond. So she's like feeling things that she doesn't want to feel. I also think Morel's kinky enough that she'd be like, "Oh, Lan and Nynaeve are getting it on." Like, Garçon, other warder, come here, buddy.
We about
that's
we're
true.
Gonna get it on now.
It's green. Yeah.
She could send it back. Meanwhile, Lan has like the most gigantic orgasm he's ever had in his life.
Because he's feeling it from
right.
Crazy shit.
That's what really breaks the hold.
Man.
Now, what happens
as our good friend Jake, and I know a bit of say to do, but Jake says this all the time. It's not kink shaming, just kink asking why.
Right, out of curiosity. I'm a curious person.
So then the curious question is what happens when Moraine comes back? Like, does she reassume her bond?
Yeah, it's completely because she's basically completely cut off. Like, it's like she's dead already. So whatever happened when she and Lanfear went through and that doorway burned down, it broke the bond like she had died, so it doesn't come back.
Or Lan's level 10 orgasm here is what brings her back.
Or what keeps her alive.
Yeah, there you go.
All the way to 11.
I'm sure Nynaeve would love that. They finish, Lan screaming, they're clawing each other's backs, and then Rain shows up in the room. What's up? Lan
like,
just passes out.
Is that what this is? Like, is she supposed to join now?
Oh man. Giggity, there it is.
Yeah, giggity, there. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Right.
So we end with Nynaeve convincing or at least insisting that they go visit the sea folk and thinking, I wonder if they can marry us on the ship right there. I'm sure they can.
Oh,
so. Yay. And then we switch point of views in the same chapter. We still haven't finished this chapter yet, guys. But this is another, I mean, this chapter is fire because we have
it's dense.
It's dense, and there's a lot of stuff that happens here that has lots of implications. And next chapter is good too. So, but we switched to
chapter was all right.
No, there's implications. So Elaine leads. It was all right. Elaine leads Mariel and the Aes Sedai and Saladar Aes Sedai sisters to the kin. That's where we're starting.
This will be easy.
What'd you say, Chris?
I said this part of the chapter.
Yeah, that's part of the chapter.
All the fucking sass.
Yeah.
I could just see it. Like in my mind, she just like happily goes to the door. It's a soft tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap.
But she's like all haughty with her chin up, and she's like, I'm gonna show these bitches.
Look, chest up, just hair flowing and biggest smile on her face, like, hi guys. You remember when I told you? Do you remember when I told you?
Look,
and they're like, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Yeah.
The
Look, and-
fear on one side of that door and the utter just I told you so on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Smug.
Yeah,
Smug.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah, it's like the kid that gets picked on and then says all right and then goes away and comes back with like the giant art, a group of like
Yeah,
his
this is my
friends, like-
brother.
Yeah.
So what were you saying?
That was my sibling. Those were my siblings.
Meet
Wait, what'd you
Chris.
say?
Shit.
8th grade, 6'1", 390.
Ian,
That's
handle my light
my
work.
brother.
Yeah, right.
Handle my light work.
Not that I was
Uh,
big, but I was crazy enough to, never
Yeah.
back down. So
That's what I love more. So I never got into fights in
It's
school
always worth a shot.
because even though I was the biggest guy in that in and of itself, I also knew people. And when I threw like 2 or 3 names out there, it was like, oh, you know them? Yeah. I helped that guy with his homework. Those 2
Yeah.
guys live in my neighborhood. Like I've known him since elementary school. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And then you never have problems again. And I feel like that was
Yeah.
her thing. She's like, hey. And it's like, huh? And it's like, yeah, I know
Look,
these guys.
if you just saw the quote that Katie put up or her comment, that's kind of on point. So it's a little bit of, yeah, look who I got with me. But there's also that frustration there. Like Elaine is more powerful than all of the Aes Sedai she's bringing with her.
Significantly.
So it's
Yeah.
ridiculous that she has to bring those Aes Sedai with her to give her some street cred. I mean, I guess there's like the age thing.
Yeah.
Also,
Help
just
with the convincing.
she doesn't have that ageless face.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's
she
true.
hasn't taken.
Have we
she hasn't
always
done
been
the
able to
oath
see the
ride.
comments from YouTube on
we can
StreamYard?
yes, we always have.
Instead of private chat, click on comments.
Yeah.
But they never
Yes.
had a little comment bubble for me. This is the first time
Oh,
I've
it
had the
should have
little
always been there.
comment bubble.
It should be there.
Nope.
Because you got too many screens open, bro. How many tabs you got
No,
open?
I'll watch us and I comment on YouTube because I do have I have a few screens going, but I watch the comments on YouTube because I didn't realize that we got the okay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
I love
I'm getting a little
technology.
comments bubble now, so
You learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So the first girl at the door, I can't remember what her name was.
It was
Loser number 1.
Loser number 1.
No, I'm just kidding, that's horrible.
is shocked of his fate and is like, "Take me to Rian now." And she's like,
I
okay.
think it's just it's a nameless maid, a gray hair,
Okay.
Yeah.
squad jawed
The
maid
gray hair,
opens the
yes,
door.
open the
Yeah.
door and
Who
suddenly
might have been
painted
their
her face.
leader 42 years ago. Remember how they swap out all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
it doesn't mean
Yeah.
this person isn't in the know. It's just that
Yeah.
they're currently not in a position that matters
Yeah.
other than opening
Yeah.
the door.
Now, I know you guys weren't there for the live reading, but what were you guys' thoughts? I already know this. Let's see if you rehash it. When they're going up to see Rian, do you remember what you guys' thoughts were?
Well, in the very beginning of the episode, remember, I woke up and had nightmares about this, freaking out that the kin, we assumed they would be an asset. And we assumed that, like, with their network and how many they are and how powerful they are, that, like, this could only help us. But I started freaking out, and I'm like, wait a minute, what if they side with White Tower number 1 instead of White Tower number 2? If this group becomes enemies, that could be really bad. So I was kind of leading up to this freaking out a little bit.
And then you guys thought Dark Friends.
And I was on the sideline of this is the 100 or this is the 1,000 that Rand needs. Like I kept saying, this is the 1,000 because they are channelers, they are female channelers, they have not used the Oath Rod yet at all. They're not going to, so they can use their power to freaking fight. And
but when they walked through the door and there was exactly 13 kin women in there, you guys were like, "Oh shit!"
Oh, right.
Well, that was Ian. Now to be fair, I didn't say anything at all.
Hold on, you had to have at least, Chris, when they said 13. I think they said 12 and 1. So you had to do the math yourself. So like you had to at least turn your head sideways.
Can I
and
be
go,
honest with you?
The fuck's happening here?
No, the first. I didn't. I'm gonna be honest, and this is a short sight of mine. I didn't do the math. You did the math for me, and by the time you did the math, we were already past that point. So I was
Hey,
like,
somebody had to
oh,
represent bad news. It's all good.
you did the math. I didn't. I was like, she walked in with a bigger, badder crew. I don't care how many
That's
people in the
true.
room because she's got the power.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That was all that was
authority,
going on in my mind.
in their eyes, had the authority with her.
And I had already had the thought, and this is,
Yeah.
I get really tunnel vision when I have something that I just know is going to happen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
these are the people that he needs. Like, literally, they could ship them off to work with Ashman right now, and
Yeah.
they could be learning. And the worst thing, Iris, is I'm a freaking was a math teacher. Anyway,
he was teaching our kids.
I work in
Teaching all the
banking.
math.
I handle people's checkings accounts.
He
and
taught
savings
the
accounts for
ones.
a
He taught
living.
the twos. Sometimes he taught the threes.
If you need a checking account, come see me if you're in the Charlotte area. That's the worst part about it all. Math is hard. So
Math is
Oh, man.
hard.
I will say money though, I always balance. I have not balanced. So there's that.
There
Okay.
you go.
There you go.
Man.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I just use my credit card.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea how much is in there.
I keep going until they say stop.
Swipe
And then I'm
like
like,
away.
now I gotta figure stuff out. So, wait,
That's how it works,
Chris.
right?
Oh shit! I had the thought and it ran away.
Bigger,
Hold on.
better.
13
Hold
bad
on.
reaction.
Ha, there it is.
Ashman.
Chris, yep. Chris was talking about how this could be great for Rand, and ultimately, I think that's where we're going. It might take books
Oh,
to
yeah.
get there.
Dude,
But
do you see how much
all
of
of
the book
these-
we have left?
All
I
of
didn't
these
realize this
channeling
until
women.
today.
Oh my gosh, we're so close. But all these
That's what
channeling
she
women
said.
that haven't used the oath rod. Where's the giggity? Come on.
It's just not
Where's
there.
the giggity? Look at
And
that
they're
Peter.
not necessarily of insignificant power either.
Yes. But it's also good for Egwene. It's also good for Elaine and Nynaeve, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people that are still rolling their eyes at Nynaeve and Elaine, and we still have people that they're like, yeah, Egwene's our Aes Sedai, but we put her there so we could control her. So, but now if we have not hundreds but thousands of female channelers that we're going to tap into our regime here, that are same as Elaine, same as Nynaeve, same as Egwene. They might be older, more experienced in
Correct.
certain ways, but they've
You
never
gotta-
used the oath rod. That oath rod shit is going to come into play.
Correct. And
We
you
know
gotta think too about the rest of what's going on now. We're very narrowly focused on these two chapters because we read at a pace of 2 to 3 chapters.
Thanks, Alan.
But elsewhere in the world, we have like the Queen of Andor returning or trying to find a path that's going to lead. He's not really sorry.
He's sitting there laughing at us. That's come on.
Like she's now trying to find the path of least. Yep, the path of least resistance, and we have kind of all the girls kind of gearing up to join Rand. Like I feel like we're headed in the direction of, the powers finally colluding as they need to. So we have like the rest of the Taviran going away, but now we're bringing Rand his stool essentially. The rest
Wait.
of his stool, like
So all right, we already know that back in the day when male and female channelers worked together, that's when they were most powerful, right? They complement each other. They could fly around, do crazy shit. What if we find out one of our Ashaman's wives are one of these kin? And that's when we see our first interaction of male-female, when all this stuff starts getting talked about a little bit more in the open.
I'm surprised we haven't seen that already.
Considering there's so many kin, and we're reeling in Ashaman like crazy.
Well, and one thing about the Ken, though, is they're specifically tower adjacent. So they've either been novices that failed their test or left, or they're runaways. So they don't accept the Ken do not accept just any wilder.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So there are also like boatloads of
Rules.
random women who do have the ability to channel out there. And
Yeah.
that is one thing
Statistically,
that
it's a certainty.
Egwene has opened the novice books, so anybody, like even grandmothers, can join now. So anybody can now join the tower,
right?
Which is, I think, one of the smartest things that she ever did, because it's just so limiting to be like, okay, if you're 18 or older, good luck. Like, why wouldn't you accept everyone?
Yeah. I mean, that's when so Elaine makes that proclamation that you all can come back and train at the tower, and of course they all start gushing.
They lost their shit.
One of them faints.
They're
like
crying.
They start crying
Oh
because
my
this is what
God.
they've always wished for.
I can be a queen.
They love me. They really love me.
And she's like, well, it'll
like,
take a while.
Now, what about that good?
To spread the word to all of us. And
they're like,
and Elaine's like, well, how many are there? She goes, well, over the years, we're a lot less than we used to be. It's it's like 2,000.
And even the Aes Sedai are like, gulp.
What the fuck?
Because the Aes Sedai just assumed that they had a firm.
They were so blinded by their arrogance.
For sure.
No,
they
not
thought
the Aes
probably
Sedai.
it would be like 20 or 30 total.
Blasphemy, Alan. The Aes Sedai knew, they're just plain dumb.
Okay.
It's all part of their scheme.
Well, then it's crazy because the Aes Sedai obviously know about the Ken and their existence, but just not knowing the numbers.
They didn't respect him enough to truly pay attention.
Yeah.
They were aware,
also,
but they didn't track it.
Because because they haven't taken the Oath Rod, something about the Oath Rod unnaturally cuts Aes Sedai's life shorter. So, 300 years is probably really old for an Aes Sedai, but some of these women are thriving at like 400, 500 years. So they just, I think the Aes Sedai, in addition to underestimating the amount of women that are there, probably think these women have so many of them have already died off.
1,783 names on the roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
Wait, hey, put up Hal's comment.
What's Hal's comment?
To this day, I do not understand why the White Tower doesn't have a membership Aja.
You know why that's clever? Hal, I know a little bit about you at this point because I've been a member of many clubs, many nonprofits, many organizations. You know what the most important position is? It ain't president or vice president. It's whoever handles membership.
Membership chair.
Correct.
And that is like the first thing. When you get 3 or 4 people together that form an organization and they need to grow, the first thing they argue over is who's going to be in charge of the growth and how is that going to look? Mm-hmm. And so why don't they have that?
Yeah.
It's the hubris. So they just, everybody wants to come and train with us. And then elite. Once we pass our test, like we're just so independent that nobody can really be in charge of us. Well, in that being said, there's not an overall membership. They really don't care about if you leave the tower, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, go away. Like, we've trained you enough that you're not going to hurt yourself, whatever, shoo. The Aja is kind of self-managed themselves, but there isn't that overarching management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slackers.
And I love how Matt just comes sauntering in like, hey.
And then you hear the scream down below. Yeah. And
they're like, oh my goodness, we're being attacked.
Something's going to attack. And then, Matt just comes.
Matt scrolls. He's like, I figured I would find y'all here after all these waters
Matt,
over there drinking in my least favorite tavern.
Not just Taviran, but getting the memories of whomever he was back to him and everything. Matt just stumbles into the most important place at the most important time in this general area.
Yep. He's like, I went to this house.
Like,
nobody lives there. Followed a woman who had no footsteps. Walking towards in a dusty room towards the door. Actually,
y'all just screamed your position.
Yeah.
Yep.
They didn't really need these women. He could have. He found the bowl without them.
I'm still waiting for Matt. I need a scene where Matt has an opportunity to bust out his bow staff skills in front of Elaine, Nynaeve, Egwene, whomever, so they could finally be like, okay, this is not the Matt we knew. Like, I'm sure he can demonstrate that in other ways, and he's already starting to. But right now, they're only, I won't say respecting him, they're still using him for his severness. But he's a tool for them to use. He's even a tool for Elaine to practice her toe to try and impress Avienda. But I still don't think Elaine gives two shits about Matt. There's no respect there. Yeah.
Are you waiting for Matt to get a boast off? So I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
Yes. And to just go ham, and then everybody's like sold. They're like, okay, I'm on Team Matt, and Nynaeve isn't. But then she looks over at Lan, and Lan is like, no, that was like legit good. I can't do that. And then Nynaeve's like, okay, Matt's legit. And then everybody loves Matt. That's what we need.
Fair enough.
Matt knows what he's doing with that quarterstaff.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he did beat
Giggity. Matt knows how to handle his quarterstaff. That's what she said. I almost missed that one.
Yeah.
Must be getting late.
So Matt comes in and announces, I found the bowl of woods, and like, yeah, whatever, we found it. And Brigitte immediately just like cringes, like, not the right thing to say. Like, and proud of Elaine, she backtracks immediately. I mean, pretty much immediately. She's like, turns around and changes her tone, and thanks Matt for helping find it. And
thanks, we already did it, but good job.
Yeah, right. Was that for Matt or was that for Avienda? That was not for Matt.
No, it was not for Matt. But
still, I'm not convinced.
Still better than at least she did the right thing, even if it's for the wrong person, right? Is it? Anyway. Yeah, and then the chapter ends with them asking Rhianna how old she actually is. Elaine asking her, and she's like, my next birthday will be 412 years.
Yeah.
And I'm a youngin'.
And Morel straight up passes the fuck out.
Yep. That's great. Is it bad that when like the Aes Sedai like get caught off guard or don't know something or whatever, that I'm like, yay, that's what you get, stupid?
No.
It's early on, I wouldn't have thought that, but like the more as these books go on and you learn about the Aes Sedai and like all their internal problems and blah blah blah, and then of course the Oath Rod that we're so suspicious of, it's like they were designed to fail.
Yeah.
There's nothing sustainable about their organizational structure and how they do business at all. So that's what you get.
Yep.
They exist by sheer force of will and precedence. So
yeah,
correct.
Yep.
And they're thriving.
Yeah, for better for worse, they are.
Right.
So
so far, they're thriving so far.
Before we move to the next one.
No,
we covered it.
But this Katie person has been on point with every comment Katie's made tonight. So at some point,
always on point.
At some point, you got to throw an invite out there to get her on the show. Because then I could just take a break and listen to what Katie has to say.
I think Katie's reading along with us. I think so.
Yeah, she is reading along with us.
Yeah.
So once Chris mentioned that, I switched over the comments. So this is the first time I've been reading people's comments as we're doing this. And every time, so there's a couple others too. Don't get
At
me
least
wrong.
I follow the comments. I've been watching Katie for months.
Every time she
phenomenal.
posts,
This episode is for you, Katie.
Yeah, nailing it. Oh, that Katie person. You know what I meant. I meant it in a like loving and enduring way.
Yeah.
You're drowning under that boat.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Help.
So also, I did make a correction from last episode. Last episode, we talked about the Oath Rod a little bit, and Tom from Dragon Mount asked when the Oath Rod was introduced to the tower, and I incorrectly said Arthur Hawkwing. That's from the TV show, not from the books. And the books, it's introduced during the Trolloc Wars and the War of Power. So between those two. So
you are unforgiven, Alan. If Chris and I make that mistake, that's expected.
The shows
Alan.
mess with me so much with some of these things. Like I'll be like, yeah, this is when it happened. Like that show. I was like, crap. Like,
I don't
why
know.
did you
That's
change so much of the show
The
that
show
I
was
can't
so
get
long ago, I don't remember it anymore.
That's
but
fair.
it blends in, like, and I start like actually missing things like that where I'm like, yeah, this is what happened. Like, no, that's what happened in the show. It's like, oh no, that didn't happen in the books. You're right.
Yep. And it's only going to get worse. But we still
Yeah,
love
I
you,
know.
Alan. I don't know why, but we do.
So, guys, ready for the next episode? Our next episode, next chapter.
Let's go for it.
Do it.
Do it.
Chapter 32, Sealed to the Flame.
Mm.
And we start with Elida, and she's conquered the rebel Aes Sedai. So while we were all in Ebudar, she conquered everybody.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and it's really funny because I've been, I pretty much only listen to the audiobooks now. So when I was listening to the start of this chapter, not gonna lie, I was also drinking when I was listening to this. But I was like, wait, what
As
the
you
fuck happened?
Right. Yeah.
Literally,
But in
after-
the books, it's italicized, so it's very clear that this is like not a normal
Right.
entry when you're reading it. But when you're listening, it takes a little bit to be like, oh, this is a dream. Okay.
Right.
when I
fine.
heard
Very good
Elida
point.
sat regally, I was like, "Oh, this is a dream." No shit. Well, I swear to you,
That's good
I
instinct.
did not look at the book. I quite literally was like, "Regal." What? She's sitting calmly because you got to be calm to be regal. Like,
Right.
you had
And there
have
has
that
to be real
appearance of
confidence.
calm. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it said 6 colors instead of 7. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, she's dreaming big time. Like, and that was the shitty part about it. In your dream, rather than reuniting all 7 colors, you completely commit genocide or at least get rid of an entire color.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's
in
been
your
her
dreams,
goal,
that's the
basically.
I
only
know that's
way
been
you
her
can-
goal, but like, why is that a goal?
It
If
can-
anything-
She's a vindictive, mean-hearted,
If
cold.
anything, it
bitch.
should be 8 colors, and you
if
should have
that-
brought the black in and made them bow to your will. Like,
Correct.
I need
If
her to
you
have
have-
greater ambitions if she's gonna dream it.
If you have ultimate confidence in yourself, what Chris said is absolutely right. Your dreams, your ambitions is that everybody that exists is now under your fold.
Yeah,
The one she cuts out is the one she fears the most.
Mhm.
And it's likely to be your undoing. But to your point, I listened, I didn't read, and for a little while I was like, what the just happened? How did we get here? Chris, I wish I was able to read it with like your confidence in knowing there, because
No,
I definitely
I
I had a
do,
freak
like-
out moment. I did a couple rewinds.
Well, I don't even have an excuse because I've read these books so many times.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
like a guy, like I was a little like tipsy at that point. I was like, "Hey, am I miss listening to this?"
Did I tap something on the phone? Am I
Yeah.
now 3 books ahead? What just happened? Like,
Yeah. Eliza's gonna be dead in a book.
Oh, Eliza's gonna be dead in the book. Okay, that prediction, official
Stake in it.
prediction.
Somebody
Thinking.
write that down.
Well, let's say within 2 books. There we
It's
go.
in 2 books.
Save me a little
FO.
bit.
Actually,
Bye.
Elida is so it's becoming clear that she's not really in charge.
Oh
Very
no, she's
clearly being
manipulated.
right.
I'm sorry, I know we're skipping ahead, but that disappointed me. Keep going because that pissed me off.
But so this is how it's going to go down. She's not as smart as maybe we were led to believe, right? So she's gonna go toe to toe or face to face with Egwene or Nynaeve or Elaine, doesn't matter. Any one of these really powerful Aes Sedai that has not taken the oath rod, so they can in fact kill whoever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And Elida's gonna be thinking, well, they can't kill me, and then poof, they're gonna get finger blasted and zapped into non-existence
Well, and she really
because she's
I don't think
buys
that.
into
yeah.
the
blah, blah, blah.
the Aes Sedai culture of like we are always correct, we are infallible, and also the Reds really dig into that. Like they are the largest Aja, and they do have a lot of power out in the world. So she just like there's no one who has set her down before. She was one of the most powerful Aes Sedai in the tower at this moment. She moved up through the ranks really quickly. So like she does
Not
have
only
the
that,
bona
like
fides
Mhm.
for this, but she just handles it completely wrong.
she
They
was
really
the
do need it.
advisor to the
She
Queen
has
of Andor.
She has a
Yeah.
lot of blind spots because
they didn't teach
conditions
leadership
and how she
classes
came,
at the White Tower.
how she came up through the tower, and
Yeah.
When
the
we
Asha she
first
picked, she's
met
got
her,
blind
she
spots.
put fear into the hearts of every man and woman and child that looked at her
Yeah.
for zero reason.
She put fear
Ran
into ignorant people. And I don't
correct.
mean that in a negative
Well,
way.
not
It's just
even
that they
ignorant
didn't know.
people.
I
Yeah,
feel
like
like the more they know, the less
more
threatening
gays would
she is.
defer to her. Gareth Bren would defer to her. So like she did have powerful
She had
people.
power.
Yeah,
Mhm.
leaning into what she said and taking her advice. So like,
Yeah.
again,
It's
she
because they
does have the
assumed she was more than she wasn't. I guess that's what I mean by ignorant. Not a
yes.
really.
Yeah.
I don't mean it slanderously. I just mean they. I think if they knew who she truly was, I don't think they would put so much stock in her, or would have
Yeah.
put so much stock in her.
Mhm.
Well, she's just like she's competent enough, but she just really should never be in this. I think she was probably a good advisor to Queen. Like she was probably really good at that job. She probably gave great advice. She does
Sure.
a little bit see the bigger picture, but just in this role as the Amerlin seat, it is in a perilous time. If it had just been peacetime, there wasn't a lot of stuff going
Sure.
on. She
Yeah.
might have actually been a successful Amerlin
Yeah.
then, but she
She's not
literally starts a
worldly
civil
enough
war.
now to
Yeah,
get the whole big picture.
she starts a civil war within the tower.
That's always
just
a
to
good
gain
idea.
power. Yeah, I know, right? So
Yeah.
because and Suwon kind of fucked up with hiding Rand's existence for a while. So like it was done poorly.
Right.
And she continues to make bad decisions. And I think all of those bad decisions are exactly why, and we'll see in a little bit, why Alviarin's able to do what Alviarin does.
Yeah.
Because Alviarin literally, and Elida has no backbone and isn't able to own up to her mistakes. So she's just like, oh shit, like I don't want people to know that I messed this up.
Right.
So
I have to keep pretending that it's all me and I know what I'm doing. And
so she just really paints herself into a really bad corner. And it's
Mhm.
and it's not necessarily incompetence, but it's just like that lack of moral courage, I think, more than anything, to do the actual right thing.
Yeah. And these are all things reading up into this point, like you might suspect, but it's in this chapter that you're like, oh, it's worse than I thought. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and she's just so petty too. Like she really thinks so highly of herself, and and so like she's just cruel.
Yeah,
cruel, petty, just like the worst things. Like somebody like that should not be in a leadership position.
Yeah,
because they just will not ultimately be successful.
Yeah,
they might have little moments of success, but in the long run, she tears apart the tower.
Yeah, and you could see with her advisors around her, she doesn't welcome other people's input. She sees everybody's input as a threat or a challenge.
Yeah.
So she's immediately fighting, maybe not overtly, but covertly against everybody that's around her. So like, what the fuck are you in charge of? Like a bunch of people you don't like and you're like in contention with it all the time. Like, why'd you even take this position? Like
this is something
just to battle everyone.
And this is something brilliant that Jordan does, is the juxtaposition of Elida to Egwene. And so a lot of their moves they're doing in parallel. And so you can see decisions that each of them are making simultaneously, but with completely different justifications in their heads for what they're doing and then completely different outcomes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, again, it's super parallel throughout the books of things that the two different Amerlin seats do. It's just fascinating. It's such like a brilliant piece of writing about good leadership versus bad leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so really great commentary. Back to the store.
I was looking at the chapter.
Or was I? So I'll Alvarian. There you go. Alvarian. I love how she wakes her up too. Like, wake up, full woman, and like she starts awake. She's like, "What'd you just call?" He's like, "I said, wake up, mother." Like, there's no respect there at all.
Oh man,
Oh,
That
Now
was
this is
pretty
that
slick.
part where I wonder, like, did she enter the dream?
no, I
Was
think she
she
just heard it as she's
more-
coming out of it. You know, someone's yelling at you, and you come out of a deep dream. Like
Good.
in your mind, it blurs. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway,
I think it would be more fun if she was like a dream walker and we just didn't realize that about her.
Or
Yeah,
she
was
has
she
one of
able to
those
view it?
Terran
Where she has the chart and she was watching
Ooh.
from the inside, like,
Mhm.
like kind of like making fun of it, because that's what I would do if I had the ability. I'd have been there watching it, like, hey, this is what she dreams about. No, you're a long way away from that, you fool. Wake up, you fool. I mean, mother,
Mhm.
wake up. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mufasa.
yeah. So
What'd you say? ¿Qué pasa?
of course, last time we saw Alvarian, I think that's when we learned her allegiances because she went and met with with the Forsaken.
with
Um,
Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a black. She's a
She's
of the
Black
Black
Aja.
Aja.
Yeah, so she has her
And a
own
lot.
motives in what she's trying to do. And she comes because one of the Ice Guys returned to the tower, Colvera, and
Mhm.
Elida's immediately like, "Why is she coming? I did put her in charge. I put, I can't remember who they put in charge. Galena.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think Galena's dead. He goes, "What about the next one?" And she's and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of us that died. He goes,
There's
how'd
Katarina.
you guys? You guys are going against Walders, Aiel Walders, like, and it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
it wasn't them.
See,
Yeah,
what
remember how
happened
you
was
thought there was
Swallowed
like,
and shifted her
you
feet.
remember how you said
How
there's
many,
like
daughter?
10 of these guys that could channel? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's hundreds.
And by the way, like they're kind of coordinated and efficient
And
in
we didn't
what
stand a
they
chance.
She's like, I brought 11 sisters back with me, mother. He's like smiling happily.
Yeah.
Like, I did that much good out of
Yeah.
39.
12
Others
out of
may be making their
39.
way back.
The tower has not suffered a disaster of this magnitude, even during the
And then
Tron
she
Wars.
tried to throw Gawain under the bus. Like, Gawain wouldn't wait
Mhm.
on them. He refused waiting longer. We dare not remain without him and the younglings, not with so many Aiel about. Like, under the bus. She already tried to kill him once.
like that's the reason. Come on.
Well, yeah, I think Kovarla like thinks that this is an easy way out because she knows like
Yeah.
they just didn't have intentions for Gawain to survive this.
No.
Mhm. Yeah, and then immediately her thoughts go to the woman that she sent to go smash down the Black Towers. Like, oh crap, that's
Oh yeah.
this is not going to be good. Like, it's like, well, how are you supposed to tell her? Like, she's
You
probably
can't.
already there. Like, she's dead.
I feel
okay?
like that's gonna end poorly.
Oh,
So
Well, and that
add a
starts
few
with-
more numbers in the losses column. Let's regroup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and all of this is just prime ammunition for Alviarin, and you can almost just like see Alviarin's like she's got
Like
this
smug.
smug grin,
Mhm.
like the clock, the wheels are
You
turning.
done did fucked up.
I was gonna say, because that's where it really started. Like, she dismissed Kovala. She's like, go back out, like, pretend like you didn't show up. We don't need people asking questions. Like, I'll send for you when the time is ready. And then she like turns to Alviarin and she's like, did you know about this already? How am I just now learning about this? Like, and Alviarin's
You
like,
never asked. Oh.
exactly.
Mhm.
Really, just even telling Kovarla not to tell anybody. Secrets never age well. This is why Suwan got deposed, because Suwan was
Mhm.
keeping secrets. So
Mhm.
why Elida is recycling the mistakes that she literally deposed her predecessor for? Just doesn't. Bad leadership.
I
Yeah.
don't think anybody's making an argument for Elida being a good leader.
There's a reason that Elida is at one of everybody's favorite people to hate on in the books.
Yeah.
So
I like Elida.
Sometimes I feel sorry for her a little bit. I don't go so far as to like her.
she's one of my
but-
favorite people to hate. Like I
Yeah.
love hating on her because she is
Yeah.
just so easy to hate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
if her ability to foretell the future is pretty accurate and strong, I could see how that could be valuable moving forward if she again becomes an asset, not a liability.
The problem with
other than
her,
that, she's annoying.
the problem with her ability to predict the future is she can accurately predict the future,
Yes.
but she interprets it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even
That's a human trait.
Yeah,
Mhm.
even
Can't
the
fault her
one
for
that
that.
she had recently with Alviara, and like the tower will become whole and the Amerlin, she assumes it's about her. She thinks it's talking about her.
Yeah.
So, and
Mhm.
I'm not
knowing
feeling that.
there is another Amerlin out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So-
about to get a bunch of kinfolk following her. Well, kin
Yeah.
following her. Yeah.
So, so after so all this, I guess, and then they start talking about the Ashima and like how they can travel, and they're worried about that as well. You know, like, well, can they pop up right here in the towers? I guess they could technically. It's like, but they would have already if they were going to. Like, what would hold them back from just popping in here and taking it over? Obviously, they're not that dumb to try to assault the tower that way. But then they
Just shows how little they know about traveling and the risk involved.
So after Colvert's dismissed, Elida immediately goes to like, let's go on the offensive. Like, we got to go, you know, take it to them. We got, you know, and Aaron's just like, yeah, you want to end it deposed and still like, because that will happen almost immediately if you try to do this.
Yeah.
You got to listen to me now, and I'm in charge now. Otherwise, you're not going to last a day.
Yeah.
You fucked up that much where it's over for you. But I'll keep you in
Right.
charge as long as
We
you
could
listen to me.
pretend that you're the leader,
You're still in
and we'll tell you
charge.
what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. She
I'm
doesn't
glad-
even go as far as saying that. It's just like the biggest of implications. Like, all decisions will be made when we have a communication and I made the decision. You're just going to roll with it.
Yep. And then immediately starts barking orders. Like, so I think the first thing we do is we start increasing the tower guard. You know, we get more soldiers inside the tower.
Lida. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Do I call you
Yep.
mother? What do I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. She tucks tail quick.
Yeah, she does.
Well, because she just knows she's screwed.
Oh yeah.
So like
I think she was in over her head from the get-go.
completely,
and
absolutely,
obvious
and it's
to her
been
now.
bad mistake after bad mistake after bad mistake, and hiding things. So like I've said it several times. Like this,
Katie nailed it again. Alan, your job is
Being replaced.
your job is threatened at this point by Katie.
It's fine.
She's also an English major, so
That's true. She's
I don't
putting it
claim to be
together.
good at this stuff.
yeah, but I mean, you see that from Alviarin's perspectives earlier that she is just kind of biding her time, waiting for Elida to screw up enough, and then, but also Alviarin has the advantage of working directly with one of the Forsaken.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So having that Forsaken insight who has ties to other Forsaken and the bigger picture of what's going on in the world. So,
Right.
I don't want to chalk this up to Alviarin's competence.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Sure. Yeah. And Bark's got a few other orders too. I mean, just not the tower guard, but I guess raising a few sisters. Also punishing people for minor infractions. There's a couple of orders that just get thrown at her. Like, you're gonna do all this tomorrow. And we'll start there. And then she leaves. RVR does, and then Elida immediately starts to think of a plan of how she can get rid of her.
Well, and the orders, especially within the tower, are deliberately devised to cause a further rifting. So, and this is Messana hedging the bet that the tower, Messana doesn't want the tower to be functional during the last battles. So, the playing the long game, like, let's break the tower, break all these women so that they're ineffective when it comes, because the tower is a huge threat to the Dark One winning.
Yeah. And Elida is the kind of leader you want to be in charge if you want that to happen, because she craves the power. And I don't know if it's craving the power or if she's delusional enough to actually think she's
Probably
the
a
best
little
person for
both.
the job, but a balance of both of those. But
Yeah.
because she will do whatever it takes to protect her authority and her
Mhm.
position, she'll fuck stuff up.
Oh
She'll
yeah.
cause more problems than she'll fix. So this
Mhm.
is maybe she is the Lord of Chaos or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Oh jeez. Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Alviarin's the one that came to Elida with a plan to depose Siwan, and then has just been like slowly egging Elida on.
Right.
And she's been
Down this-
manipulated too. So
She
she's
was
like,
intentionally.
she's literally the little sister, and there's a big
Mhm.
sister somewhere else just giggling at both siblings.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So we switch to Alvaron's point of view as she leaves Elida's chambers, and thinks that Elida will be disposed within like a week or two, and perhaps she will
Well,
even
first
live.
she didn't think she was gonna go that quick, so I was again of the same mind. Like Elida was just such a badass at the beginning of this book series.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
she put fears into people's heart. She literally could have outed Rand at any moment. She has so much power and so much control. And then we get here and she's like, she puts one and one together and realizes that this person must be a dark friend. And she's literally manipulating and controlling me. And I've got to figure this out. But she
think
still
she's
is her
hoping.
walk
She's
out.
hoping and praying that Alviarin's a dark friend. So because
Mhm.
she has no card. Elida has no cards over Alviarin.
Right.
So the
Mhm.
only way
Without
to get
proof of that, though, that
She is the stole. Like, you've already taken authority away from the stole, the Amerlin who was.
Mhm.
So then why are you allowing this lesser character in the grander scheme of things?
she risked more people leaving if she's too harsh. What
Yeah.
she did to
She's
Swan
she's
already
already
caused the
done
tower to
that.
split. So if she continues down that type of, well, I've got
I
no
would rather
evidence,
be
I just
feared than
declare this,
loved.
whatever.
Okay,
And-
Machiavelli.
All right,
And
Machiavelli.
how often has that worked out in history? Temporarily, it does, but eventually people have enough.
I mean, she's
Even
already
amongst
there
their own
now.
ranks, if she continues to do stuff without explaining, without reasons why, she's going to lose more people.
Yeah.
That's why I had
So
the
that's
title,
risk
If I
too.
Could Dream, the Dream of Wheel of Time. Because in her dream, she's completely in control.
Sure. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her Teleron Riyadh is just fantastic. Everything's peachy.
Well, and she's just not, Elida's just not willing to accept help or advice from anybody because, again, she thinks she's the bee's knees. And she's not.
Yeah.
She is not.
Correct.
Yeah. So anything from all this and from Alviarin's short point of view where, she thinks about a lot of being deposed and also thinks about
I want to
Lucy's
know what's
plans.
going to happen over the next 3 weeks. Like, there's some big things about to happen in the tower really quickly. Like, will we get it in this many pages, or is that going to roll into the next book?
Or
Like,
5.
Should I say it or should I Raffo it?
You should say it. Totally tell me.
Chris,
Honestly, the part that the next segment in this chapter that we're about to get into does kick off one of my favorite
Arcs.
non-main character arcs. Yeah, like it gets really interesting really fast, and the shit that
I think
happens.
I know which one.
Say, Alan gave you a little cosign as you were saying that. You saw him squirm. He got all excited.
I know
It's
so good. It's really
good. It's
so
good. It's
Well,
good.
I mean, we're gonna have a red, so I'm gonna jump ahead. We're gonna have a red, and what is this other woman? A green or whatever? What is she?
White.
She's a
gray.
gray.
Whatever.
Dan
We're gonna
is
have
a gray, I believe.
Yeah.
We're gonna have this red. Who I have a feeling she's a dark friend. Like, I know she's probably not, but
White.
like,
Sorry.
I have this feeling that though her family was killed by dark friends,
Pavara?
I
love
just
Pavara.
I have a
It's Talmonese.
yes,
Shut up.
Don't bring him up.
Shut up, Al.
If you bring him up, Alan could claim him as his favorite character.
Yeah. I have this like suspicion that there's more to this woman and that she's really a dark friend. Like she may not be, but I just have this suspicion that she's
You know what the
probably
bad news is,
leading
Chris?
the Black Asha from within.
Here's the bad news. I haven't sprung it on y'all yet, but it's going to be more than 3 weeks or whatever, however much we have left till you find out. Because the first week of April, I can't record. It's spring break, and I'm going to Gatlinburg. I'm going to be at the Great Smoky Mountains.
You can always read ahead.
Don't let Alan know that strategy. He thinks I'm a good little boy. No, I won't read ahead. I won't read ahead.
Read ahead. I wait till like an hour
We're
before
gonna have 1 week that I can't
before I read.
Sorry.
Yeah, this book we have 4 episodes left to record.
So 5 weeks.
No,
So
but
I
I'm
got-
saying
I
when
gotta
I
take
say
one off.
3 weeks, like hold on, where was it at? It says, hold on.
Hold on. We already determined the math isn't really your strong suit, even though you've been teaching our children the math.
So yeah. So anyway, this is when Elida purchased Cien, one of the S sisters. S sister number 5, I think.
Oh my gosh. The
and-
freaking. Did you guys see Bodhi's Watt Idol last year where he was doing Mambo number 5, but with all the S named
S ones.
characters? It was
Okay, so
hilarious.
she said Elida would suffer Swan Sanche's fate in a matter of weeks. I heard
Mhm.
I heard few weeks in my mind.
Okay.
Just-
Oh,
a
that's
matter
where
of
your
weeks.
3 weeks is
Talking
coming.
about
Yeah,
weeks
I
within
thought
the
you
month.
meant
I thought
our
she
weeks
said
of
matter
reading.
of a few weeks. No,
Gotcha.
that's what I get for listening while doing other things. So I thought, man, a
Mhm.
few
No.
means 3 and everybody up. For me, the few is like 3 to 5. Because when my grandma said you can have a few cookies, I always took 5. But
Mhm.
I thought you were talking about like how many
Our
weeks until we finish the book versus
Nah, I don't
No,
care how
okay,
many
gotcha,
weeks
gotcha,
you have
gotcha.
to finish this is
Alright.
an eternity right here. At the
I
pace
know,
that we
right?
read.
So Elida purchased Cien, and Sister Quarter, and instructs her that needs to seek out treason. Go find Black Asha, and Cien goes
and
to the Red Asha.
Yeah, and I do think that those words that Elida said are very important because the execution is not exactly, I think, what Elida is very cryptic. So she says, I charge you to follow the stench of treason no matter where it leads or how high, even to the keeper
Even
herself.
to the keeper herself.
Yes, even
that,
to her.
Yeah.
What you find, whoever it leads to, you will bring before the Amerlin seat alone scene. No one else must know. Do you understand me? So, like,
Yeah.
that's
Sealed to
her.
flame.
That's Elida's specific instructions.
Mhm.
That's a way for Elida to be rid of her without it being her fault that she wants to be rid of her.
Right.
This
So-
is the Elida that I appreciate.
And
Yeah.
here's the
she
first
still has
problem.
moves. She's not 100% dumb. She
But
still has moves.
here's her first flaw. She went to this and said, "This is sealed to the flame. It's treason if you tell anyone else about this." And the first thing she does
It's tell
First thing.
somebody else.
is go to someone else and be like, "Hey, guess what? Guess what I'm doing?"
Yeah.
So it also
Yeah.
it begs the question. It begs the question one, like, why is she able to tell us? She says that she won't.
She doesn't specifically.
No, she
Cien
doesn't
says, "I
say it.
understand." She doesn't say, "I won't."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's not
Yeah.
lying.
Aes Sedai,
She Aes Sedai'd that shit.
Yeah, I understand your commands, mother. Like, I comprehend what you're
I
saying.
understood what you said.
Mhm.
I heard
But
the words that came out of your mouth.
Pavara
Oh
that
my
I
gosh,
think is a
Alan,
dark
I've said that
friend.
to so many people in my life.
Yep.
Do you understand
uh-huh.
me? I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
hear the
understand
words.
you.
I understand what you're trying to say.
I
That
think
does not
this
mean I agree with
Pavara
you.
is a
don't. Yeah,
dark
I
friend.
don't. Yeah.
We are not even close to being on the
Super
same
Aes
page.
Sedai of you.
But I understand the English language and how you attempted to butcher it there.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Well,
Sure.
Cien really thinks about it for quite a while before she goes to because she's just like, "What was she like? Did she just ask me what I think she was asking me?" Because Cien's brain doesn't go like, "Oh, because Elida really just wants treason. I don't even think Elida thinks that Alviarin is a black Aja. She just wants a reason to kick Alviarin to the curb and depose her as the keeper. And so Elida can continue to do whatever the fuck she wants to do.
Well, she's a threat, so
because the tower must be made whole. It must be.
Oh, it will be. Oh, it
And
will.
The Black Tower will be made whole when Rand gets his 1,700 female channelers.
See, this is where I'm already starting to think of. They've been saying for so long, the tower must be whole. The tower must be whole. Like, what if this goes back to an old saying or an old belief of the tower must be whole, but it's not just women. It's not just the White Tower. It's men and women must be whole. Like that's the end goal of what we need to reach if we're going to overcome, if we're going to win this battle, sort of thing. So they're still short-sighted and thinking we have to get the women together. It's not just that. Everybody got to get together. It's like the Aiel and their whole it was probably like once told that they can't fight at all, but then somebody interpreted it as like you can't raise a sword, and they're like, oh well, I can't raise a sword, but I can raise a spear. Like over time, the meaning just changes, and they try to justify their new actions. The tower must be whole. That we're not just talking about the White Tower anymore. We're not just talking about the women. Everybody got to get together.
Yeah.
It's like telephone, right? Everything changes.
Yeah, sure. Well, telephone doesn't work because there's people like me, and you'll be like, the guy comes up to me, he's like, the bus is painted yellow, and then I'll go to the next person in second grade and be like, your mom's dildo smells like a tuna can, and then they're like, oh gosh, you know. And then the teacher's like, all right, Timmy, what was the message? And they're like, I can't say it. Everybody's crying. Well, at least half the class after me. And then it just gets, that's why telephone doesn't work.
You shed a few tears too, though. You get away with it.
Right. I try to cry also. So it's the person before me that gets blamed. It's,
Is it sad that inside I want my first child to be that way? Like, I know it's horrible, but like,
oh my god,
I only got kicked out of a couple of schools.
I want you to be so smart that you do dumb shit, and I get to laugh at it when I close
my daughter. My middle child is exactly like that. Just like always trying to like pass the blame and trying to like scheme, and it's like not well.
I have vivid memories.
Not yet. She's practicing. She's 1, 2.
My parents I would get in trouble or something, and their first response was to bust out laughing. And for a moment, I would think, "Oh, great, they were entertained. I won't be in trouble." But then I would be in trouble. So I mean, I was funny.
They got
I guess
entertainment value.
Yeah, but they still cracked the whip.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, so Pavara, what do you think about Pavara? We got this new character.
She's the one that's going to be like Dark Friend. She's going to be ahead of the Black Aja.
Okay.
Interesting. So to answer Katie's questions, there was one of the Dark Friends that the Power Girls are chasing. One of her specific descriptions is that she likes cats. So I think that might be where you're confusing. So that Dark Friend is somewhere else. She's actually with Moghedien right now. In Ibudar.
Drilling?
Yeah.
Drilling. Yes.
See, the liking of cats throws me off because I know some cat people that are just pure evil. But then I know some cat people that are pretty cool. I don't think you could judge just by the cats. I mean, maybe if you got to know the cats,
on the breed of the cat.
Who's in charge? Is the person still in charge, or have the cats taken over? Because cats
then
themselves,
you get like
I think,
Dan Winters. You get Dan
it was
Winters.
just like a very
who became a cat
distinctive
guy
description.
later in life.
But Dan never let the cats be in charge. Dan was still in charge.
Towards the end there.
That's true. They did speak for him a little bit.
I mean, because he ran the feral cat colony. Remember, like the city was going
to kill
the cats.
Are the coolest fucking cats.
Like the city was going to kill all the cats, and he actually like petitioned. He's like, "I'll just let him. Like, I'll take care of the feral cats." And he like made his cat colony and fed them all, and yeah,
he
was like the king of cats.
I know you feel like you're not proving my point, but you're proving my point. Sometimes the cat people you should be afraid of.
Dan, you should be very afraid of.
Sorry. Like who has the spray bottle? The human or the cat? If the
What
cat
type of spray bottle are we talking about? Because some cats do spray.
Oh, see,
that's gross. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about, though. Who's in charge? Who's in charge?
I'm still battling with mine.
Dan, rest in peace. So anyone who doesn't know, Dan Winters was actually a pretty famous sailor in his own right.
In the underground East Coast world, for sure. Everybody knew him.
And nationally a little bit. I mean, people knew him nationally. He has his own sailmaking company, and anyway, but he was an old crotchety old man who taught both me and Ian sailing, and a lot of life lessons as well. But he was definitely a very, very rugged and bitter old man.
He was a fantastic human being to know. Very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yep.
But love Dan. He's passed away a few years ago. That's why I say we loved it past tense. Let's see. Where were we? Pravara and questions about Pravara. You said Dark Friend.
Yes.
Chris thinks Dark Friend. Ian, what do you think?
You've always
Her family was murdered by Dark Friends, and you think she's a Dark Friend?
You've got to assume that everybody's a Dark Friend until proven otherwise.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Sure.
That's kind of suspect until proven trustworthy.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah. It's not even a trust but verify. It's kind of like a distrust, but
it's the way she was so quick to be on board, no questions asked. Like, the friend of my friend is the friend of my whatever, the saying goes, the friend of my enemy is my friend, but we were friends once, but then something happened and now we want to be friends again like it never happened. She's in charge of the Reds. And the Amelin once was a red. Like there are too many red flags flying here.
And she likes dudes.
Yeah, and she's a red that likes men.
But that's what makes you like. All right, so now I start to think: is she not undercover? Is she not intentionally putting herself in that position? So we've been trained to think that sometimes the Dark Friends will work themselves into positions to be able to influence. Well, okay, Jordan
it's the
is
dude
playing
the dude. That's the dude.
But why can't good people be smart enough to take one for the team and infiltrate and get into positions of influence to try and,
Because if they think they're the smartest, that usually statistically they're the dumbest. But if they think they're the dumbest, statistically they're the smartest. So I think I'm dumb, therefore I'm smart. Now I think I'm smart, so therefore I'm dumb. So
that sounds like a downward spiral, Alan.
Yeah, that just went like
that's what I did when I went to college. Depending on if it was an HBCU or not, it's like, this application.
Sure, that's the best application of sure I've seen yet.
This application, I'm that.
Alan, if you're trying to convince us that you're both very smart, very intelligent, and very dumb, yes. Cosine.
100%.
When people ask me about the smartest person I know, I generally reference you and a couple other people I know. When people ask me about the dumbest person I know, I'm like, well, there's this one time when Alan, it also comes up. Can't explain it. But you're fun to be around.
Polarized.
And it's not on different days. It's at the same time. Same story.
That's true. That is true skill right there.
Yeah. It is. It's a lot of practice. So that's how we end with Pavar on a mission to go seek out Dark Friends.
Who may be a dark friend or may not be a dark friend.
The Dark Friend seeking Dark Friends.
Mm-hmm.
But being a dark friend, in order to secure her position as the Dark Friend seeker, she's going to go find at least one to prove that she's worthy of the task. But that might just be a curveball. Doesn't mean she's not a dark friend because she finds one.
Mm-hmm.
They'll burn the round. They don't care. Means to an end.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you think it was really brave of Sienna to go seek someone out? So, like, knowing that this could just be such a mire, like, maybe Pavar is a dark friend, but she's just like, I know I can't do this by myself. And I think this is actually what Aes Sedai really should be, and what everybody thinks they are. Like, she knows she needs help, and she doesn't think so highly of herself that she is like, okay, whatever, I'll just do it by myself. Fine, cool. Like, she's like, I'm gonna go to a person who she firmly believes Pavar is going to be able to help her with this, because of Pavar's family history being all murdered by dark friends. So, like,
you feel
her
like that's
logic
someone you ought to be able to trust.
yes,
right?
Agreed.
Yeah,
Someone that should be motivated to help you with this task.
Yeah, and that I think that takes a lot of courage too,
Yeah.
because that's terrifying. Like, anybody in the tower could be a dark friends, like, even at the highest levels. So, like, oh shit, like, it's not an insignificant task.
Or let's say you're 18, 19 years old, you're not even Aes Sedai yet. You could barely control your channeling. The Armorling goes, hey, I need you to leave the tower and go find dark friends. And then you just go, bet we can do this shit. And then you leave. That's also an option. But we saw how that ended up.
I mean, it kind of didn't end up too terribly, because Egwene's in Merlin's seat now. Nynaeve and Elaine are off on their crazy little adventure.
There were moments along that path that probably weren't fun.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
getting captured by the Black Aja and tortured.
Or the Shanshan, or
the cool little necklace thing. Like, oh, this is so neat.
That was Leandrin. That wasn't Suan.
Well, fair.
Okay. So, thank you, Roof Mistress Leia. Are anything we missed from these chapters before we move on?
We were all over the place. Probably.
Yeah.
But I know we finished.
Chris is like, we made it, okay? Stop poking the bear, Alan. We got here.
There's things I'd love to say about, like, the whole Sienna and Pavara thing, but I just don't want to accidentally spoil stuff. So I'm gonna.
You want?
No. It's Rapho. Yep. Yeah. And let's see. Favorite character. We gotta do that one.
Yeah, they did get a run off, and Elaine got a tightrope walk without using the power, which would have freaked me the fuck out. But
that's pretty cool.
I knew that
what do you
the
got,
block
Chris?
was gone. So
What?
I said I knew the block was gonna end in this, eventually, and
you could feel it coming.
I could feel it coming, and so I really would love to give it to Nynaeve, but at the same time, her poutiness kind of killed it for me. So give me a second to rethink that real quick.
We did breeze over the best line in this entire chapter too.
What was that?
Where Nynaeve whipped around so fast because he didn't want Lan to come on her back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You gotta be, if you really want to enjoy that with us, become a patron and listen to our live reaction, because we lost our shit. That was so good.
Lan, go ahead and say it, because I know it's your favorite character. Do it.
Well, no. So here's the thing. My own personal experience really ruined the Lan part for me. We talked about that. I end up feeling bad for him more than I want to exalt his re-entrance here. Nynaeve, of course, is a reader. I'm thrilled about her finding a way to get through her block, but again, certain experiences
It was
that
such
like
an anticlimactic way.
there was if she could have done all that without her putting her hands on him, it'd have been great. So I can't give their shout outs. I'm gonna go with McGideon for shooting her shot. Literally.
There were two
because
shots.
she wasn't supposed to. She was supposed to be going somewhere else, and then she went, wait, who the fuck's that? Boom, and finger blasted. Yeah. She got a quick finger blast in, and like literally the most powerful evil being in existence in this world, like, has their eye on her, and she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna get mine real quick.
Very.
Mogideon. For
Mogideon.
being true to herself.
I like that. I do like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna give it, believe it or not, to Elida.
Ooh.
Huh.
Everybody went, well, next.
No,
This was a good show.
I want to watch him dig this hole. Go ahead. Go ahead, dig this
There's
hole.
potential here from what we know so far.
Go ahead, explain it for me.
No, I was gonna let you.
No.
I feel like there's potential here. I just don't know how to put it into words.
Keep digging.
No. Chris, I'm trying to help you because I love you. It was a bad choice, okay?
This is when I wish I had the Y gif with like the monkey. Why?
Because
Why?
in a story like this, you need somebody to hate. And she's just that person.
I don't hate her.
Yeah. I know. I don't either.
I
kind of feel bad for her a little bit.
Just keep it. Every time I start to feel bad for her, she just does something stupid or awful, and then I'm like, "No, yeah, I don't feel bad for you. No."
And that's the reason why I'm giving it to her this time, because though she allowed herself to be manipulated
big
and
sigh.
bitched, because she was manipulated and bitched in that moment, she was quick on her feet, came up with a plan, and executed. It may not be the best plan.
She's not caving.
She's not caving. She did not give up. You know, could she have handled it directly and got that situation over with right away? Yes. But at the same time, she realizes there's information that hasn't been passed on to her yet, that she's behind, that she's lacking in loyalty. Like, here's a person that she realized at least has a handle on what's going on. She's not sure how she's getting the information, but now she's creating a common enemy. She's created an issue by doing these searches and by creating a division, but then on the back end, she's trying to patch it by creating a common enemy. So she's trying to circumvent.
Okay.
So it's not going to work, but they're
still reaching.
You know,
what it boils down to is look at the condition the world is in right now and everything she knows. What the fuck does Elida see in herself that makes her go, yep, I'm the person for the job?
She's self-confident.
Yeah.
She's delusional.
In the least, she believes in herself.
Yes.
So.
And she has the cat has something to do for you.
You know,
I saw the cat pop up behind
the male praying mantis believes in himself too, and you know what that gets him?
Eaten. Well, but he gets laid first.
Right.
He gets laid first, and then he gets
the early worm believes in themselves. Like, what a great day! I'm gonna get started. Here we go. You know what the early worm gets? Eaten by the early bird.
Oh, come on, you got the space ghost. Devoured.
Devoured. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's actually where I got that from, and I totally forgot the reference. Space Ghost, Ghost to Coast.
Space Ghost, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm giving it to her because she came up with a plan and she executed. It may not be the best, but she thought on her feet. You know, Nynaeve, and this just kind of let go. She's like, well, this is going to be my life now. I'm dying here. And Nynaeve, then she was open to the source. And as much as I'm happy for her gaining her power, you know, she used it in the worst of ways right off the bat. She used it to impress a man.
Little bit of vanity. Let me fix myself.
Let me fix myself up. Let me show off a little bit.
Okay, first of all, there's nothing wrong with that being your first major act of power. Like, please. Like, also, she was probably cold, drenching wet. Actually, it wasn't cold; it was super hot. But anyways,
yeah, she could use that water.
I'll just object to that personally, because if I was looking a hot mess and the guy that I was absolutely freaking head over heels, I would totally use my power that way.
That's fair.
If you can't accept you at your worst, he's not worth it.
If I could use the power to not have to like fix my hair every day, I would totally do that.
If he can't accept you at your worst, he's not worth it.
Alan just got hurt by that comment. You talked about fixing hair, and he's like, I'm afraid to dry it with a towel. Like,
It's going away. Every single week we record,
I don't want to rub
it just
too
gets,
hard.
the line gets further and further back.
That's
You
what we
like
do
use
to
a
you.
marker to track that.
Older
Like,
and
here's where the
older,
line
yeah.
was.
It's
Right.
just, it's
But
just
I mean,
getting
I
grayer
get
and
it.
thinner.
I know Elida's not everybody's favorite character, and I know she's messing stuff up on a royal way. But you know, the other side of this is it kind of had to happen for things to unfold the way it needed to for Rand. So she's fulfilling her destiny.
Okay. Can I say sure?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Sure. My favorite character is Talmanis being mentioned in chat. Thank you, Hal.
Son of a gun. Chat, please don't encourage him.
But my real one is Elaine. Just for
Oh,
actually,
yeah, that's true.
yeah. Yeah, she went in there and got 2,000 new channelers. Yeah. No, Elaine's great.
That worked out nicely.
Yeah.
Again, she used her power and flexed hard on a group that she really didn't need to do it in the way she did. She could have just came there with one person and said, or sent an emissary, or she could have done that differently.
She just didn't have time. Like, she knows this. Like, they need to get the full of wins.
Right.
Like, they need
She's
to
still
fix all
focused
this.
on that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and she'd
What
already
about Matt?
tried.
Matt's
She'd already
my other
tried
character.
with him. She already tried doing the diplomatic thing.
Mm.
They told her
She did throw him a bone, though. It was one of those Kingdom of Heaven moments where at the end, Legolas, which clearly wasn't the character in that movie, but knights everybody there that could carry a weapon, and all the men and all the slaves and all the servants or whatever, makes them a knight. Like, that's what she does with these kin. Like, she's
Very
like,
true.
all right, your greatest desire and what you thought you could never attain, guess what? Tag, you're in.
Probably a much better pick,
you're on the
but-
team. So
Yeah. It doesn't always work well, though, in your favor. I mean, Battle of the Bulge was not a good example of it happening historically in a good way.
Yeah.
Just
You know what? The other issue is Elaine still won't connect with Rand. Like, they're still skirting around the obvious. They need to hook back up with Rand, and they're just taking their sweet freaking time.
they
still have,
spent
like,
they
7 more
spent too
books
much
left.
time in the tower. They got a little bit of that arrogance in them.
Yeah.
Leia, do you have a favorite character?
So my favorite character is completely off screen at this point. It's Egwene. So Egwene's driving a lot of this, specifically in that first chapter, from behind the scenes. So she's the one Nynaeve and Elaine went and talked to Egwene, and Egwene's like, okay, here's what you're gonna do now. Like, go get the sea folks, go get the Ken, go get the bowl, do this thing, then get your butts back here because I need you. And then also conversely, all the stuff that's happening actually in the White Tower is almost reactionary to what Egwene is doing with the rebels. So she's moving that army, and this is what Elida is kind of getting all hopped up about. Also is triggering a lot of the stuff that Masasana and Alviarin are doing. So, Egwene, it doesn't physically appear in these chapters, but she's really the centerpiece of these two chapters in her own way.
Yeah. I like it.
that.
That's better than Tamanis.
Or Elida.
Oh no! No shade.
wah,
here.
wah.
I chose the real Merlin.
There you go.
Let's get it straight here.
So next week on the Wheel of Reads, we'll be covering 3 chapters.
Yay.
A bath.
This is the next chapter is like 2 pages long.
A bath.
I
Here's
need
the
a
next
bath.
one. Then Taviran. And finally,
Is
into
Rand like
Those are going to be
get it
so
busy
good
with
chapters.
somebody?
I can't
in
wait
the
for you
bath?
guys to read those because so
Is he
much fucking
severe?
shit happens. And
Are you joining us? Are you coming back next week too? Then
I'll
I
happily
think we
come
might.
back
It's
again.
getting good.
I think we have a guest next week, actually.
really?
Be
I will
we
come
never
back
get back.
anytime.
Here's our next week. Yeah, next week is tree.
Yay!
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bring Tree on in the chapters where everything is happening, not where it's about to happen. Because if it's about to happen, her facial expressions will give it away. If it's
Yes.
happening, she can just
I
she can
love
just
Tree
enjoy
for
the
those
moment with us.
moments.
Yep. So a bath, Taviran, and Into the Woods. I have 3 chapters we're covering next week.
Taviran,
Into
I
the
might have- I
woods.
might
Do you
have
have
to
a
get
parent
loyal.
chapter?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I got to get loyal.
It
out
is
of
a
the room
loyal
for
chapter,
The Taviran
Into the
chapter. He'll
Woods.
appreciate that.
No, Into the Woods is definitely gonna be a freaking loyal chapter. That's not as exciting. I'm sorry. I like loyal, but he's
Into the thick of it.
into the thick
Into
of
the
it.
woods, into the woods.
Oh.
Want Aaron back.
I'm trampling through the bush.
That's how you know who has children here, people.
Anyways, so yeah, thank you so much for coming to represent Threefold Talk on our podcast, Leah, as always.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
enjoy our guest and we enjoyed you, especially since I had to leave for a lot. So I hope you held the fort down and
She held it down.
let's
Fantastic.
all
I
right.
roof mistress all over their asses. Kept
There
them on
we
track,
go.
kept the conversation
Yeah.
going.
We had
Pretty-
shade. We had water. It was wonderful.
It was
It
wonderful.
was.
There was much rejoicing. Yeah, and go check them out on their YouTube channel. It's actually part of Malkier Talks. So Rob facilitates that for them. So go check it out. And follow them. They have their own Twitter though. So they're on Rob's YouTube, but they have their own Twitter. So check them out. Is it Threefold Talk or was it?
I think it's just Threefold Talk.
Yeah,
on
Twitter. Yeah, so go check them out. They're a lot of fun, and if it's spoiler heavy, but if you've read the series, a lot of fun. So yeah.
Yeah, we don't always talk about the books. We just don't want to hedge.
Sure.
If we do have guests on who haven't, we'll try to be cognizant of our guests and where they are.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
And they have a great episode. If you ever see it, I think they did it last Valentine's Day around like the flowers for the bridal wreath.
Oh god, we've got 2 of them.
Yeah.
We saw some of that.
We saw some of that.
That was
bridal
great.
wreaths are important, and
Yeah,
you've got to put in those flowers to
the
let
right
the guy
way.
know what
We
they're
were
getting
actually
themselves
right at
into.
that point when
You guys did that.
had
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Didn't we
That
have
was
it?
perfect.
Who was the guest then?
We've had 2. So Jesse, the Amerlin Seed, and then Bree, who's a romance novelist, has also done one with us as well.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's the one we saw, I think. I can't remember. It was fun.
Definitely lots of adult jokes.
Yeah.
So make sure your kids are not around when you're watching these, or put your headphones in.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
'Cause
wheel
there are
reads
some
approves.
Very interesting looking flowers that look like things.
Yes, I remember that specifically.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can find us at thewillreads.com. It's our website. It has links to everything, like our social media, Twitter, Facebook, all those
Literally
social media places. Discord. You can join a Discord. We have lots of space for first-time readers, although they have been chatting recently. We had a few. I know Katie's been chatting there, but we do. I do read all of those ones because I don't read all the channels because we have a lot of channels. I do read all those because I do like new readers' thoughts. But yeah, so come join that. You can support us in lots of different ways just by listening to us, or joining our Patreon, or buying our merchandise. All of those links can be found on the website as well. So yeah, and that's all I got for. Yeah. Oh yeah. Say merch. That's our cool water cup. Yeah.
That's fancy.
It's fancy. Yeah. It's a fancy water cup. Yeah. I have a frosted mug over there somewhere. But yeah. Anyway, so that's all I got for this week, guys.
Until next time.
Peace.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.